I'm going to go ahead and let the intro movies play as I kind of introduce this game, which is Pokemon Volt White 2 Redux, which is a ROM hack of Pokemon Black and White 2, which I was going to say happens to be my favorite Pokemon games, but there's not really any happenstance about it. Like, there's a reason why I want to play this. And I mean, I've played the original Black and White 2, I guess specifically White 2, a ton, like an absolute ton, on, I guess, my 3DS, even though it was a DS game. I was playing primarily on my 3DS at the time. I've played the original Blaze Black Volt White 2, that was like from years ago, and then I played the first half or so, if not a little bit more, of Redux, like 2 or 3 times, I want to say, but I don't think I've ever completely like gone through all of Volt White 2 Redux. Now, I do want to say up front, this is not going to be a Nuzlocke. Not particularly a fan of doing Nuzlockes these days. But I'm also gonna like, well, what was I gonna say? I guess I'm just gonna play this for fun, basically. And like, I'm not gonna do like excessive grinding or whatever. What's funny is that if I was doing a Nuzlocke, I feel like there would be more grinding involved because of how those strats tend to be, especially these days. So it's like, okay, to avoid grinding, I'm not gonna do a Nuzlocke. Because who the fuck wants to grind? Nobody. And the thing is, like, I don't mind grinding in games where like the combat is actually fun. But in a lot of those games, I don't really find grinding to be that necessary. Like, you think about mainline SMT or something, it's like, you're not really grinding in those games in the same way that you would like a Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest or something like that, right? And it's like the wild battles in Pokemon are like super whatever. So having to do that over and over and over again doesn't sound particularly compelling. The developers of this hack, Aphex Cubed and Driano, kind of giving their little introductory spiel, as it were. You luckily know the basics of the hack. We're looking forward to looking at new wild encounters, a more challenging game, extra boosts to many weaker Pokemon, and moves from later games, among many other features. Yeah, I guess I didn't talk about the ROM hack specifically for those who are curious. Modern mechanics, like fairy typing, new moves, abilities. I don't think there's any added Pokemon in this one, but like Pokemon have their hidden abilities, right? Superior is going to have Contrary. I think it might be a roll, actually, to get Overgrow versus Contrary, but you want Contrary. It's almost like just get rid of fucking Overgrow in that case, but whatever. Universe region is the same at its core, but enhanced with many modern features that you'll likely encounter on your journey. See, and this is like my ideal style of ROM hack, which is why I like Driano's work so much, generally, is that like he keeps the same framework, but like updates the mechanics and like makes the battles harder and stuff like that. And I feel like in the more modern Driano hacks, it's more tasteful. Some of his older work is a little bit less refined, I would say. Like when I did Volt White on the channel a little while ago, I had played that hack before, but I was finding it to be like kind of unrefined and kind of like not totally in line with the quality of like Renegade Platinum or this hack, for instance. Now, I typically just play as the guy, because like this is one of the few game series where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna like be me, quote unquote, because there's like no characterization at all, literally. But at the same time, like Rosa's character model is like super iconic, and I don't really like Nate's design that much either. So maybe I do play as Rosa as like a little bit of a change of pace, because like, I don't know. It's like one of my least favorite male trainer options or whatever. At least like Hilbert is kind of boring, but at least he's like, I don't know, he's just like modern red basically. But this guy, I don't know, get a haircut, dude. The fuck? I'm going to play as Rosa just because it's like a more appealing design basically. little bit of a change of pace. We'll go by Cobra. I usually just leave... Well, if I'm not memeing, I'll just leave him as the default name. Which I think for the sake of this playthrough, I'll do. I've named him Huge before. Just like, I don't know. It's not really particularly funny, but it's like, you know, his name is close to Huge, and so it's like, I don't know, it's whatever. Last name Jas, but yeah. We'll just go Hugh. I've never really found that name to be particularly fitting for this guy, but it's whatever. And, okay, yeah, the main reason why I wanted to do this month is because playing Black and White 2 in autumn, which would be, what, March, July, and November, is ideal because these early routes have some hidden paths and extra stuff to do in autumn. And I think there's maybe some additional stuff in, like, Icarus City during winter, but you don't go there during the main story, so... Like, when you're playing Black and White 1, I feel like playing during winter is ideal because that's when the most differences are present for the areas you're going to. But that's an aspect that I don't think I talked about much about liking in my Volt White playthrough, is like the seasons changing every month is very cool. Aria Juniper, the goat. Bianca, a few years later. Building more so on that character development from the first game, which is cool. I think this game benefits a lot from being a sequel. The only direct sequel that I think Game Freak has ever done in this series, Ultra Sun and Moon don't count. They're not really sequels. They're like alternate timeline versions, kind of like how Emerald and Platinum are. It's just like they split it between two for some reason. Though I've been seeing a lot of slander towards Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, which I find odd because it's just Sun and Moon, but basically better. Or at least, like, they're pretty equivalent. So, I don't know. I get it from, like, a release standpoint of, like, releasing not even sequels for full price and splitting again. Like, I get it. That's bad business practice, but, like, those games aren't on retail shelves anymore, so I don't really, like, judge it with that aspect in mind anymore. Oh, I need to readjust the mapping real quick. Control config. Yeah, because I normally swap X and Y. So that way the top button is the menu button because I'm playing with an Xbox controller. So of course the face buttons are flipped. Fast. Set. Stereo's cool. Battle scene on, of course. Confirm. Go and make a save. Yeah, I'm sure there's lots to talk about. I mean, I'm sure I've talked about a lot of why Gen 5 is my favorite generation. But it's also like, Black and White 1 are so good. And they're like easily top 5 or top 3 mainline titles for sure. But this is like easily number 1 for me. Whereas Black and White maybe sits in like 3rd place or something. I guess I did rank this in my tier list like right next to it, but even though like Heart Gold Soul Silver has some problems that I can acknowledge, that's probably my 2nd most played, if not maybe even my most played Pokemon game. And so it's like, that's probably number 2 for me personally. But then again, it's like, when do I ever play these games vanilla? It's like almost never, if ever, these days. Though I've literally put hundreds of hours into many of these games in their vanilla states back on the DS and 3DS and all that. I did disable speed up because I do want to take my time. Like this first gym segment, or like these first 2 gym segments are not terribly long. And so I want to kind of pace myself. Like, there's not a ton to do for this first gym, and usually I do 1 stream per badge. Like, it's possible maybe I do some of Verbank and then we, like, start next time with the second gym fight? Or something? Because, like, as we progress, there's going to be more and more to do. Like, by the time we get to Nimbasa, like, there's going to be... Or, well, I guess more so Driftveil. There's going to be areas that we can explore that'll take a lot of time and all of that. I think Clay Tunnel was opened up during, like, the actual, like, main story in this hack, whereas it's usually locked off to post-game, etc. and so on. And see, so Hugh is a character that I think may have been a victim of localization shenanigans, maybe. Like, I find some of his dialogue to be, like, a little... I don't know. I know cringy is kind of like a trite term. It doesn't really mean much, but... It's like the whole, you know, you're about to feel my rage thing. It's like, that's not... I can't imagine that's, like, a literal... Not even literal, but I can't imagine that's, like, a good translation of what he's actually saying there, you know? That's one of those things. It, like, doesn't translate super well, I don't think. Like and White 2, also the only mainline Pokemon titles to ever have difficulty options. Amazing that it hadn't come before or after. Granted, you had to beat the game, and then if you were playing Black 2, if you were playing Black 2, you would unlock Challenge Mode. If you're playing White 2, you would unlock Easy Mode, which is a little weird. But then you can actually transfer them. Like, you can kind of, like, trade... Not trade, but it's like, if you connect with someone who has the other modes unlocked, it'll unlock them for you. You can also do it with action replay codes, or in this hack's case, it unlocks from the beginning. Also being able to switch between White Forest and Black City as well. Now, the thing with the difficulties, something that I don't like about Volt White and Blaze Black 1, like the original versions, because there's no Redux of that currently. Though I would hope that's something that is planned in the future. That'd be cool. And that would round out the DS games, as far as, like, having more modern, like, well-balanced, refined Drayano hacks. But of course Aurora Crystal comes first. But anyway, the thing with challenge mode in this hack is that it's a lot like just like vanilla, not vanilla, but like it's a lot like Volt White Blaze Black 1, where certain gym battles are double battles and certain gym battles are triple battles, but there's no, like, in-game indication as to how to expect that. You'd have to look at the docs. And I don't know, I prefer when I'm playing mainline titles for the battles to just be single battles. I'm fine with the occasional double or triple battle, but I don't like when those are sprung on you, because those styles of play, those types of battles require a different approach if you're gonna actually, like, participate in how those battle systems work. Right, the moves still do the same, well, actually not all moves do the same thing. Some don't have an effect in singles that are specifically used in doubles. But my point is, like, getting ambushed with a triple battle when your team is built for single battles is not fun. And so I'm just going to stick with, like, normal mode, which is still going to be quite a bit harder than the vanilla game, of course. But specifically for the sake of avoiding random double and triple battles, because I just don't want to deal with that. If it was simply just like a level increase, like just straight up a harder version of normal mode, then I would actually consider playing on challenge mode. I probably would be doing that. But yeah, that's one of my biggest gripes of Volt White and Blaze Black, was that. So I'm kind of hoping, like, that's an option if there's ever a Redux version of those first games. No. I love trolling with the dialogue options in these games because they don't actually impact anything. Yeah, obviously this one you have to say yes, but... Also nice to get a lot of the dialogue out of the way for those who are resetting for shinies or certain natures or IVs or like whatever. I'm not going to go that far. I will modify my Pokemon's natures in PK Hex if I feel like I need to. And it was a whole thing with my Renegade Platinum playthrough where I was like, oh, Empoleon's nature's kind of bad. I'm just going to leave it as is. And then eventually it was bothering me so much that I changed it. When it comes to EVs and IVs, I just leave those as is. I really don't give a shit about that. In fact, it's probably nice to have maybe a little bit of a handicap here or there, but in the case of like my Weavile and Renegade Platinum, that Weavile's IVs were fucking terrible, which I found out after the fact. And then I was like, well, that explains why it was outsped by this, or didn't kill when it went for a knockoff on this mon, or like whatever. And so like it does matter, but because it's not presented to you directly, it doesn't bother me as much. When it comes to natures though, I'm like kind of a stickler about that. And we are gonna go with Oshawott, because I used Serp in Volt White 1, and I've used Emboar. Emboar's probably my least favorite of this trio, although his design has grown on me, but it's like Serperia's Grass Dragon in this hack, and in Volt White 1, and so you get like Contrary Draco Meteor and Leaf Storm, which is sick. Emboar's Fire Ground, and so that's really good early game, obviously. But late game, he's very slow, and because he's like weak to ground and weak to water, ×4 in this case and stuff, it's like, it's not exactly the most ideal, though he does hit like a truck in early game, he's amazing. Oshawott's line was changed to water fighting to kind of like break the Tepic line out of that firefighting thing that, you know, was a thing for 3 gens in a row. And so I like the idea of using water fighting Samurott, because I don't think I've done that. And plus the first gym is a normal type trainer, so that will help. And because I kind of have my team planned out, sort of, I might catch a mon or two for Gym 1, but I kind of have an idea of what my final team is going to look like. I don't think anyone but Oshawott's going to be recruited before the second gym. And I guess I'll save who I plan to use for later. I'll go with Oshawott. If the nature's not ideal, I'll probably just change it between this time and the next. Yes, we're going to nickname though. Oh, I guess the thing is that I wanted to nickname him based off, or I wanted to nickname Oshawott based off of like a male character. Not that it matters much, but I guess you could say this is, I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima, so it's not Jin Sakai, but Jin from Samurai Champloo, particularly, because, you know, the blue, the samurai aesthetic, it works, but it's a chick, so I guess that's fine. That's fine, but whatever. Just roll with it. Maybe I'll soft reset if the nature's like really horrendous, but I don't want to do that like too many times. I want to like get going on this. Let's see. Because I probably want you to be... Oh, that's like actually really good. Because Samurott's not particularly speedy. What is it, like base 70 or something? Typically, maybe it was buffed a little bit in this, but Samurott can kind of be a mixed attacker. I don't like the Premier Ball either. I'm going to change that. Also, Shell Armor we do want, probably over Torrent, just to not get crit. Because Samurott's decently bulky. Of course, the fighting type is going to add some additional weaknesses that we wouldn't otherwise have, but higher physical attack for like a fighting type is probably pretty good, I would say. Razor Shell. And what fighting type move does it get? I'm sure it gets one early on. Oranberry. Yeah, I don't like the Premier Ball thing. Typically, I like my actual squad to just be in regular Pokeballs. I'm kind of surprised that's not a thing that you can... Maybe you can change it in some of the newer games, but... It is a very small pro, contrary to a myriad of very major cons. So that nature's actually, like, kind of probably what I would have wanted. Maybe Adamant could have worked, but I like the ability to be a mixed attacker, because Samurott kind of is built to be sort of a mixed attacker. And I don't typically like... Unless the mon is like a glass cannon, I don't typically like doing a minus defense or spit F nature. Take really, really good care of your Pokemon. Got it? And so, like, Hugh's whole thing is obviously wanting to get tougher so he can prevent Pokemon from being stolen by Team Plasma and stuff like that. So, it's cool, because then that obviously goes into the split between Team Plasma, like the differing ideologies within that organization in the first game, and even more so in this second game. We can get into that later when they show up, though, but... I don't really get it, but going on a journey is always good. Just happen to have a second one. It would be, I guess... So here's the thing. I don't want to get overly negative, right? I'm playing one of my favorite games, probably of all time, honestly. Favorite Pokemon game. I would probably say this is among my favorite games of all time. Like, gun to my head, top 10. I feel like Pokemon was too important to me growing up, and I still enjoy playing the DS titles to the point where it's like... Yes, I probably would squeeze this game in there, for sure. I do think it's funny he conveniently has the starter that's strong against you, but he raised it from an egg. He didn't get it from Bianca, which is sick. God, the sprites look so good! Every time I play one of these games, I'm like, man, obviously the Oshawott back sprite doesn't look amazing, at least on my monitor, because it's like a very high-resolution monitor, but... I don't want to Tail Whip because of Contrary. Don't want to play into that. It's possible it's Overgrow, which would be kind of disappointing, but... Yeah, so thankfully we are plus attack nature, so Tackle is doing quite a bit. I forget if they have an Oranberry equipped as well, but it does pretty much exactly 25%. It's probably a roll, though, so it's possible it's a 5-hit KO, but I feel like this next hit might kill. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. What was I saying, though? Oh, yeah. I've mentioned in the past... Nice, clean 4-hit KO, like, almost perfectly. I've mentioned in the past, like... Obviously, BDSP was underwhelming for a lot of reasons, but a big part of that was the lack of inclusion of Platinum stuff. And just not being a remake of Platinum. But... And I've said in the past, like, okay, with Black and White, there's not really anything that they can ignore because there was no third version, right? I would hope that if they were to do remakes, obviously I want them to be good, first of all. Second of all, ideally they would do the first set of games and then the second set of games as well, instead of... Ideally they don't overlook Black and White too, you know what I mean? Which makes that process kind of a little bit trickier to maybe be worth it in their eyes, but it would be interesting if in the Black and White remakes, which I'm sure will happen someday, even though I'm not necessarily, like, itching for them, because I can play the original game, and I love the original games as they are already. But it would be interesting if they included, like, this area and, like, some of the other areas that were introduced in Black and White 2, but had them be in the first game, or in the remake of the first game. Because it's not like this place was built in the past 2 years, right? Maybe it was, but you'd kind of think that this area has been here. It's just that there was no reason to go here. Like, in-universe, there was no reason to go here in the first game. But obviously, in reality, they just hadn't developed these areas at that point. I still Fade to Black. Don't force us to walk all the way to the Pokemon Center. And as I've said many times in the past, my ideal... Maybe I could do a video on this, honestly, but, like, the gist of it is, like, my ideal remakes of the Gen 5 games is to not even really, like, yes, remake them, but remake them in pixel art. Can you imagine these games in, like, HD, like, like really high resolution pixel art. Oh my god. It already looks pretty damn good on this version of Desmume, which at least like makes the 3D models like that globe look a little bit better than it otherwise would. I don't even mind when pixel art has like some pixelation around the edges, because that's just the nature of the beast. But it's like this was made for a DS, which is super low res, right? And on the OBS capture, it actually looks quite good, quite polished, rounded edges and all that. Blown up on this screen, it's a little pixelated, but it's like, man, fully HD. You like fully orchestrate the soundtrack. Obviously, there's a lot of synth and electric instruments in the Gen 5 music, but with some of the horns and stuff, you can tell that it's MIDI, obviously. It sounds really damn good. Granted, you compare Diamond and Pearl's OST to like this game's OST, and it's insane how much they improved over the course of like 6 years or whatever it was. It's crazy. And I actually think that like Gen 4's OST kind of holds up decently well. It's very MIDI, but it's like, it still kind of works for me. Whereas like you go back to the GBA titles and it's like, this is like, it's a little too crunchy for my tastes. At least out of context. But I talked a lot about how I've kind of like softened on the GBA games a lot. They're good. They're good. I grew up with them, right? Gen 2 was the first Pokemon game that I played, but Gen 3 was the first one that I owned and like really sunk my teeth into back in the day. But it's like I even went so far as to, what is it, Emerald Final is a ROM hack of Pokemon Emerald. It's very customizable, like there's a ton of optional patches, you can literally tweak it exactly how you want it, although there's no difficulty increase from what I could tell. Like it's just Emerald but with like quality of life stuff, which is cool. But it's like I booted into it and I was just like, like Emerald's good and stuff, but I don't know why. Like I just have almost no desire to play the Gen 3 games these days. Whereas like with Platinum, HCSS, and the Gen 5 games, it's like those are the ones where it's like I don't ever see myself getting sick of playing them. And that could maybe change someday. Who knows? Right? Get our running shoes going. I also kind of feel like Rosa is maybe a more convincing offspring of the mom in this game compared to Nate. But I guess we don't know what Nate's dad looks like, so sure. Also, the fact that the mom she says, "You're Oshawott." You're Oshawott as in the species of Pokemon that you have, even with the nickname. That's cool. That's good shit. It's this type of attention to detail that makes these earlier Pokemon games so special, and it's crazy to call this an earlier Pokemon game, because it's not really, but I mean, we are... Let me think. It was like, this came out, what, 15 or 16 years after the original games came out in Japan? 96 to like 2012 or whatever it was, 2011? 2012 in the States, I know it was fall. Pokemon titles previously had been in like the spring for a while here in the US, but 16 years. And so, okay, I guess 2028, then we would be equally distant from Black and White 2. Then Black and White 2 is from the original Red and Green, right? So we're not quite there, but like, it has been 12 years, damn near, since these games came out here. Which is wild to think about. Oris turns 10 this year, which is crazy. But yeah, a lot of what makes this game my favorite is, I'd say more so like the vanilla aspect of it compared to the other games. You have the difficulty modes, the Pokemon variety is amazing. the way that it's paced and the amount of exploration per badge is really good too. Like Black and White, there's some doubling back you can do, but it's not as extensive. Because I would definitely say Black and White's narrative is better. I think this game's narrative gets too much shit, in fact, compared to Black and White. Especially when you take it within the context of being the second title, like being a sequel. Because that's how this game should be, I think, looked at. As it, like, you can look at it on its own, I guess, but it's like, it's a sequel. It's a direct sequel. So having the knowledge of Black and White going into this, and seeing how Team Plasma changed, like, that's what makes them so cool. Whereas if you look at this game in a vacuum, I can see how you can maybe see Team Plasma as being very one note and whatever and all that. And I talked about how aren't you supposed to run into Bianca here? Am I crazy? Oh shit. Well, I'm not nuzlocking this, and I'm not fucking using a cricket dot either. So there's that. But yeah, what was I saying about the attention to detail and like these games were, of course, like all games are made to make money. Like that is ultimately the goal. You don't want to make a game to not make money. That doesn't make very much sense if you're like trying to sell something. You want it to sell, right? But these games feel like there's still passion here, right? They feel like there's still love. There's still like just a strong passion from, I would imagine, everyone involved. It's the DS's swan song, right? And like the fact that they decided to make direct sequels to Black and White instead of doing like a third version like they had done the previous couple gens and all of that, I think speaks to that. And so I know that Game Freak's and like Masuda, I think specifically, is I outlook when it comes to gaming is like, oh, we make these games for kids, and kids only have time for iPad baby games and shit like that, so we're not even gonna try, or like we're gonna whatever, and pushing games out for merchandise, even though it takes a lot longer and more resources to make a game that is of quality these days because of not just expectations, but like hardware and like all of the factors that contribute to game development becoming more expensive and time-consuming just across the industry, right? Let alone transitioning to 3D and then transitioning to HD, and then like just not seemingly having or being given the resources at least to like make a game that looks better than the average PS2 game, you know? And it's not all about graphics, but it's like, but it's I don't know. It's more than just the graphics, obviously. It's, you know, the dumbing down of systems and like the tedium and just like not really super well designed regions and like just like so many factors that contribute to what I view as being kind of a shitty state the Pokemon franchise is in currently. Like Sword and Shield I had fun with and was like, okay, this isn't very good, but it's also like, I don't know, I enjoyed it fine. But then it's like BDSP happened. I was bored to tears. I love Gen 4, but I was bored to tears playing that. Speaks to how mediocre Diamond and Pearl are. Just kind of period. If you based it off of Platinum, it would have been better, but like then again, that style of remake I don't think would have done Platinum justice either. So that's why I'm kind of like, okay, you have this passion project title. I think maybe the worst selling generation was Gen 5, even though these games sold like 10 million, I think, a pop, which is like not bad by any fucking means. That is still like a lot of big AAA games sell like 2-3 million copies, and that's seen as a big success. These games sell 10 million and that's a failure. Like, what? That's heinous. That's heinous, dude. But like, the point that I'm getting at is there's an opportunity here for the Gen 5 remakes. It's like, okay, you've got a much wider audience with the Switch than you did with even the DS, which had a shit ton of units out there. But like, Gen 5 is beloved by the hardcore and the people who grew up with these games, right? It's widely considered to be one of, if not the best generations, which is crazy. Where were y'all? Where the fuck were y'all? It's crazy. But then again, 10 million, it's like 10 million people speaking very maybe not all 10 million, but you know, from a pool of 10 million, you have people speaking very vocally 10 plus years later on how great these games are. So like, it makes sense. Like, that's still a big pool of people. And maybe there is like a little bit of overcorrection, even though I would agree this is the best generation, my favorite for sure, for a lot of reasons. Reasons that could have easily been implemented in the earlier titles that just weren't, right? Little quality of life things, attention to detail, just general polish, right? It's kind of telling that they didn't do a third version for Black and White or Black and White 2 because they just didn't need it. Whereas you look at Emerald compared to Ruby and Sapphire, or Platinum compared to Diamond and Pearl, and it's like, yeah, this is a noticeable upgrade, especially with Platinum. Like, there's a reason why HGSS is basically remakes of Crystal, just with the version exclusives for some reason. And there's a reason why Oris feels like a little bit underwhelming because it's not remakes of Emerald. And that's definitely why BDSP is underwhelming, or a big aspect to it. But with these games, it's like there was no need for a third version, because, like, yeah, okay, were there improvements that could have been made in a Pokemon Gray? Probably, sure. But largely unnecessary, according to the company that just doesn't have a problem with releasing iterations of their titles to that point. Beginning as early as the first generation. Red, green, and blue, and then yellow, gold, silver, and then crystal. It's like, this has been going on literally since the beginning of the series, and they did not specifically do that for Gen 5. I guess they didn't do that for Gen 6 either, but it's like, I kind of, I guess, blame that more so on increasing cost and production time, even as early as a decade ago. And having just, like, feeling like they needed to squeeze in remakes before Gen 7. It's weird, though, because they took a year off between Oris and Sun and Moon, so I'm kind of surprised there wasn't a Pokemon Z between Oris and Sun and Moon, kind of like how it was like Ruby Sapphire, then Fire, then Leaf Green, then Emerald, like year after year, I think. There was no remake before Platinum, though. So Diamond and Pearl, I think there was a gap between Platinum. I think it was, at least in the US, it was 07 to 09, and then 2010 was HGSS. Just goes to show there's not really much of a pattern. I mean, I guess you could say the remake generations are... No, you couldn't even say that. Is it 2 generations later? No. You do multiply the generation by 2? Kind of, not really. The Gen 1 remakes are in Gen 3, Gen 2 remakes are in Gen 4, Gen 3 remakes are in Gen 6, so yeah, you multiply by 2 starting with the Gen 2 remakes, but it's not really... Like, Gen 4 remakes were in Gen 8, so I guess Gen 5 remakes would be Gen 10. But there is an opportunity here, though, to go back to these titles when there was passion. Assuming Game Freak is going to do the remakes in-house, because I think that's also a factor as to why BDSP was not up to snuff. Not that I think that Game Freak would have been capable of much better, and I'm sure that much of the instruction that Ilka got was from Game Freak directly as far as what to do with the remakes. So, yeah. But it's like, this is an opportunity to remake these games with love for a much wider audience. And like, yeah, they're going to sell regardless of how good they are, but it's like, I'm kind of maybe naively hoping that the process of remaking Black and White will maybe spark something in Masuda and company for them to like realize what they were building on here. Because it's just such a shame, because they took so many steps back with X and Y. Part of that was the transition to 3D, right? It took a lot out of the studio, I'm sure, to like get used to developing games in that way when they had been used to making pixel art titles for handhelds for the longest. And 3DS is still a handheld, but you know what I mean. And it's like, you know, this game had difficulty modes. It's like, why was that not an X and Y? Of course, the repel reusage thing was introduced here, and that continued, thankfully, but it's like they changed things, but for the wrong reasons. But also, I think a lot of people are being little babies about, like, oh, I can't use Venomoth. It's like, just use one of the new Pokemon, dude. Like, do you always use Venomoth in every playthrough? Even if that's your favorite Pokemon? Weavile's my favorite Pokemon. I don't use it in every playthrough. That would be fucking boring, dude. Though I am tempted to use Weavile again here because Weavile was kind of underwhelming in Renegade, partially because of those poor IVs and because I picked it up really late. What I should have done was I should have picked it up before Gardenia, since you can actually access that route prior to Gardenia in Renegade Platinum specifically. So that maybe should have been my approach, especially because an Ice type against Gardenia would have been kind of good, especially a physically oriented one for Rose Raid. But I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to use for my team at that point. I think I was using Lucario, and then, like, Lucario is just too slow, man. It's too slow, it has too many common weaknesses. It's a cool mon, but it's like... yeah. Like, if I was doing something with, like, perfect IVs and, like, EV trained and all that, then I'm sure Lucario would work just fine. Right, Bullet Punch, E-Speed, and then, like, CC and Swords Dance, or coverage with a Choice Band or something like that, right? Fury Cutter's interesting. I'm a little nervous that I can't 1v1 this. Do I have any potions? Maybe I should have... I do have one potion. I think I Tail Whip once. How much does this do? Yeah, I gotta keep in mind that, like, the early game here is gonna be a little tricky, especially if I... since the first Pokemon that I really want to pick up for the final team isn't until Burbank Complex. Shit, it's faster. I just lose, I think. Unless I, like... oh, no! You better Tail Whip, bitch. Oh, there's no way. I'm so lucky. This is not a Nuzlocke, so I don't really... it wouldn't really matter that much, but it would be a shame if I really need to go buy potions, like, actually. Because that's the thing, if you were Nuzlocking, you would grind... what I would be doing is grinding Oshawott up to, like, level, what, 8, 10, whatever it is. If we're doing by badge, then it's like, okay, grind them up to level, like, 14 or whatever, and it's like... it's not fun. Is that fun? It doesn't sound fun, dude. I've done my fair share of Nuzlocks over the years, but it's like... I've really just kind of soured on the idea of playing that way. I don't care if anyone watching this likes playing that way. That's fine, more power to you. I'm just saying that, like, that playstyle does not sound appealing to me. Especially because of how min-maxed it's gotten. I feel like I mean, I have 50 fucking Pokeballs, which is probably enough for the entire playthrough. So, I think we'll just stick with 10, I guess. It's like if I white out, then I lose half my money, so it's like you kind of want to spend it to try to avoid that, obviously. And yeah, depending on, I guess, what's available in the ranch. Like, I thought about using maybe a Mareep, because usually in vanilla, right, it's like Ampharos and Lucario are the two to pick from. Even though there are some other options. Like, those are... it's like such a cool factor of this game is, like, Black and White was kind of a soft reboot sort of thing. Where brand new batch of 150 plus mons, just like Gen 1, basically. And then in this game, it's like, this is the grand, like, bringing back a lot of old Pokemon for the main story. Because of course there were older mons available in the post-game of Black and White, and you were still able to transfer in any of the 649 at the time into Black and White. It was a little less than that because, like, event mons that were in this game specifically, but you know what I mean. Any Pokemon that wasn't available in the vanilla Black and White adventure, you could trade in. Of course, you'd have to beat the game to transfer it up from Gen 4, and then once it's in the Gen 5 ecosystem, then you could trade it back and forth, but you know. Oh, Fury Cutter here because it's super effective. But, like, I absolutely adore the moving sprites in the Gen 5 games. It's, like, a big factor as to why this is my favorite gen. And so getting to see, like, during the course of the main story, since I'm not really much of a post-game guy a lot of the time, especially growing up, I actually, there's big swaths of the post-game even in this game that I haven't touched, which is only just going to add to my admiration for it, so it's one of those things. Like, Battle Network 3 is another one where it's like, I hadn't done a lot of that post-game, and that was still my favorite one in the series, and then I did the post-game, and it's like, wow, this is even better than I have had known for, 20 years or whatever it is, 20 plus years. With this game, it's kind of the same deal. Although I do feel like some areas like Clay Tunnel don't necessarily make sense to be post-game only, which is, I think, why this ROM hack allows you to go there initially. But even like White Tree Hollow and Pokemon World Tournament I messed around with a little bit, but not terribly so. I think the Pokemon World Tournament is fucking very cool. And I have, like, somewhat, I wouldn't say big plans, but I have intentions to do that pretty extensively at a later date. Like, the goal is to kind of get through the main campaign, beat the Pokemon League and all that, end of the game. Do some of the post-game, probably battling N in the ruins of the castle. I feel like that'll be, like, kind of the finale of the post-game, quote-unquote. But then I'll come back later down the road, and I intend to, like, PK Hex in my teams from my previous playthroughs and use them in the Pokemon World Tournament, like, kind of just craft teams out of that pool of mons. I think that'll be really sick. Aqua Jet this early, my lord. Being able to hit on the special side's kind of nice, though. Because it's like, Aqua Jet we're a plus attack nature, it's got priority, it's a strict upgrade over Water Gun, of course. But I'm wondering, like, is Tail Whip overkill? I feel like because I only have one mon, if I'm Tail Whipping, I've probably already lost, right? Probably. But that option to, like, lower defense for an incoming mon if I catch something else, which I probably might as well, would be good. In fact, maybe I should pull up the docs and confirm that I can't find my ideal second mon earlier, but I think it's Riverbank Complex is the earliest. Maybe I do just go full on, because, like, Water Gun's not even very good. Like, I'm trying to think of what I would hit on the special side. It's like Munchlax is especially bulky, more so, as far as the gym leader's concerned. Yeah, I feel like I just go all in on physical, at least for now. Eventually, maybe I want Ice Beam or something over... I don't even know if this thing gets a physical ice move in this. And yeah, we just jet. Probably kills. Oh no. 2 KO. I figured we're double the level, and stab plus attack nature, but clean 2 KO is also not bad at all. But yeah, I get, like I was saying before, there is a possibility of doing like my ideal Gen 5 remakes, because I've done that for a couple of other titles. Like Persona 3 Remake, I did one on, I did one on like a BN7, or just like, a new Mega Man RPG, really. BN7, Star Force 4, or just like a new series or whatever. Just kind of framed it as BN7, because that's my preferred Mega Man RPG series, but point being, there's a precedent for it on the channel, and we know that Legends ZA is the next Pokemon game and not. So this is why you play this game in autumn, to start. These patches are not available. Like, you can't cross over prior. Free potion, not bad, not great, but not bad. Also, there's not like hidden items on these patches, right? It's just like pitfalls. There's some trainers. Like if you have Waterfall, I think there's an area over to this, to the right. Or, like, really just south of here, pretty much, is where you find, like, the Lake Trio and shit like that. Yeah, these DS titles are really comfort games for me, in a lot of ways. Like, I've talked a lot about feeling like I don't have much of a nostalgia bias towards many games, because the vast majority of my playtime for video games growing up was Pokémon and, like, Battle Network, I guess. To a lesser degree, though, but Pokémon was, like, the vast majority of that. And, like, Sonic Adventure 2 was a big one, too. There's other titles, right? Smash, Melee, and Brawl, right? Monster Hunter Tri was a big one. Like middle school or whatever. And I feel like Pokemon in particular is maybe the only series, maybe aside from Battle Network, I guess, that there are some nostalgic ties for me, where I feel like maybe me having played them at a young age influences how much I enjoy them to this day. But there's also a lot of games that I grew up on that, like, I don't necessarily care for. It's hard to think of examples because I've just kind of boop, just like, you know, games that I don't like playing. I typically just evacuate from my mind. Like, I don't pay them much mind, which is why I find it odd when people get like really, really hung up on. You can't harass an object, but it's almost like they're harassing games that they don't like, or even worse, harassing people who like the games that they don't like, which is not cool at all. Do I want to pick up a second Mon? Like, normally if I was going to do that, I would have tried to avoid... I think you can avoid that second youngster, like the third trainer, maybe. Part of me wants to just kind of go for it, but I'm also like... Maybe just catching something to have it in the back would be not a bad idea. Lillipup. I used Stoutland for a good bit in Volt White 1, so I'm gonna pass. A Mareep would be good, because that could help with, like, flying types, I guess. Machamp, like, this is already gonna be a fighting type, so I don't really want to double up. It wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea, considering the first gym is a normal gym, but... I'm hesitant on the team that I kind of have in mind, because it's very... Was it ground? I think it's ground weak, kind of. Yeah, no, it's pretty ground weak. But at the same time, I look back at some of my other teams, and it's like, well, this team's weak to ice, or this team's weak to whatever it might be, and it worked out fine. Like, I think either my Coliseum, my Grand Coliseum, or my XG team was weak to ground, and that's in games where Earthquake is, like, even better because it hits all targets. And it didn't prove to be much of an issue. So I think as long as I have, like, one immunity or one resist for a type that I may be weak to, I think we can probably make it work. What am I looking for here? Like a Mareep, I guess? Maybe I just throw an Attempted Hue and just see. 756, I can only buy 2 potions. I am Trainer. I'm pleased to meet you. That is, quite the catchphrase. We're not fighting type yet, right? That's when we evolve into Duat. Yeah. Let's just see how this goes. Halo. Dude, the older Mons look so fucking good. Like, there's so much personality and character in these animations, even though it is, like, kind of jerry-rigged, like, models from Gen 4. It's like, look at my boy. Look at Tailo over there. Dude, Tailo and Swallow design-wise are so cool. I know they're kind of just birds, but, do I Jet? I feel like Jet doesn't 2-hit KO, so maybe I Tail Whip, and then Jet twice, or maybe I Tackle? No, Jet's just gonna do more, period. Just spam Jet. He's faster with Quick Attack anyway. I've got potions, so I'm not, like, too Right, okay, it's just clean to a KO. Oh, he didn't go for quick attack this time, so we get the jump on him. This one's gonna be a problem, though. Oh, no, wait, we have Fury Cutter. I think I just spammed this, right? Please don't do a lot. Okay, that exactly 2 KOs me, but this should... This is a problem. This is a big problem, actually. Okay. Okay, they're throwing a little bit. Like, I still have 1 Vine Whip after 1 Tail Whip. After 2... Wait, why did that do so much? Wait a second. Does the consecutive hit thing with Fury Cutter not get broken if you use a potion? Why am I moving around like a fucking anime character? Like, is that actually a thing, though? Wait, that's kind of wild. Wait a second. Dude, what? You're not water absorb, right? Yeah. I think this is like Unburden or some shit. Holy crap. I'm sure that's known by some people, but like... I don't know about you, I never fucking use Fury Cutter because that shit is usually ass. In this particular case, though, a water type, learning something to hit grass types with, I mean... What else was I gonna go for there, right? Like Tackle, I guess? Yeah, that was definitely... That wasn't a crit, as far as I saw with my own 2 eyes. Wow. I'm kind of surprised I managed that. And even if Taylor had quick attacked a second time, I think I would have lived that Vine Whip, if my math is correct. It did 14. So, like, yeah, there's a roll, so, like, there's some range there. But quick attack did... I don't remember how much, a few damage. Probably would have lived 1, I think, and then I would have just potioned up. It would have been a trickier spot for sure, but... They kind of threw by going for Twister and then Tail Whip, so... Who am I? Soothe Bell? Okay. Guess I feel like running Return. In fact, I think don't we get the TM for Return? Or is it Retaliate? Or both? Like, this would be good if you're running... Doesn't Azurill evolve with Friendship in Emerald, I want to say? You'd probably find Pichu around here, too. You're a little worried? Are you kidding me? Yeah, I don't think that Hugh's dialogue necessarily does him justice for, like, what they were going for. It's probably just playing somewhere in the ranch. I'll hydrate a little bit. Just a friendly reminder to drink water. Let's... You level up, or you evolve at level 17, right? I think all 3 of them do, maybe. Which is kind of neat. Usually it's 16, or... Yeah, usually it's 16 for, like, most starters, right? Except for, like, Cyndaquil is 14. That Gen 2 is interesting, because it's like, Cyndaquil evolves at 14, Chikorita at 16, I want to say, right? Maybe... I know, like... Totodile's at 18, right? I think? But then I'm gonna be honest, I, like, never use Chikorita. I think I used it once in Pokemon Gold. Way back when. It actually worked pretty well. I remember beating Red with that team, which was kind of cool. But... it's like an interesting way to tweak the difficulty, right? Because obviously in Gen 1, Bulbasaur intended to be the easy mode, Charmander intended to be the hard mode, and Squirtle somewhere in between. But the evolution levels for those guys, I think, was 16, and then Ivysaur evolved earlier at 32, but the other two were 36. Whereas, like, what Totodile's line is, like, 18 and then 30, I think. Like, for Alligator, you get way earlier. This is kind of bad. Well, I guess Jet is still, like, the play, right? Just pray we don't get staticked. What was I gonna say, though? And then, like, Cyndaquil line is, what, 14? 36, I think, like, the standard 36 final Evo. Maybe Chikorita's, like, 1632 or something like that. But I would have to verify, because I just don't use that line very often. It's an option early game for this playthrough, because you do get access to the other starters via gift Pokemon. But at the same time, it's like we got a Poison Gym, followed by a Bug Gym. Electric could be decent, then Ground would be pretty good, but then Flying Gym. And then, I guess, because it's Grass Fairy in this game, it would be good against Drayden, but it's like, a lot of these gyms early on, like, by the time I get to Drayden, I'm not going to be wanting to use Meganium, probably. Even though it is a Fairy type. Yeah, not much to be done here besides just spam Aqua Jet. But yeah, and then, like, I think Gen 3 starters, aren't they all 1636? I've used all three of them several times. I'm pretty sure they're all... Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're all 1636. And then Gen 4, I want to say, follows the Gen 1 framework where... No, Gen 4s are a little different, right? Like, Grotle is maybe a little later, and then Torterra's 32? Razor Shell this early, holy shit. 75. They made it 100 accuracy. May lower the defense. This is obviously... I don't think I've clicked Tackle like a single fucking time. What would be my reason to click Tackle over Razor Shell or Fury Cutter? Like, as if I'm not clicking Razor Shell, then it's probably against, like, a Grass type or an opposing Water type or something, and it's like, well, Fury Cutter's actually not that far... Well, this is when Tackle is actually kind of decent. 50-100 instead of, like, 40-95. I like the utility of Tail Whip. Ultimately, this is probably going to be a 4-attack guy anyway. Then again, Razor Shell with the defense drop possibility is like... It's kind of built in. It's not a guarantee, of course, but functionally kind of similar to Tail Whip, but deals a shit ton of damage in the process. But yeah, Gen 4 starters, right? Monferno's at 14, I know that much, and then 36. Torterra I know is 32, but I forget what Grotle is. I think it's 18, maybe. But then Piplup, I think, is just 1636, like the standard. And then I think all three of these guys in this gen are 1736. I'd have to check Tepig, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Wait, this is, I know I've been using Priority, but... Minus Speed Nature with Quick Claw, never a bad combo. Never a bad combo. I like having Priority at the bottom, for whatever reason. It's usually how I do it, like, primary stab, secondary stab, coverage, and then, like, status move or Priority. Or I guess, if this was a status move, like, 2 and 4 are usually status move slots for me. Like, that's where I would put status moves. I'm never running three status moves plus 1 attack. What is this? In competitive, that might be something you would do in certain cases, but in-game... Eh. Who wants to use a fucking, like, Blissey in-game? Sounds miserable. That sounds actually miserable. In fact, even using Blissey in comp doesn't sound particularly fun to me, but... Unless you're doing something wild like Specs. Specs Blissey would be kind of dumb, but it's like a fun dumb set. I guess we can see what the egg is. I know there's a... It's like a pool of mons that it picks from, I think. Let's hatch this real quick and see what's up. Boop. Beady boop. Is it gonna hatch? I do kind of miss the way the bikes worked in like the Mach bike in Gen 3 or the bike in Gen 4, where there was like a little bit of like deceleration as opposed to stopping on a dime. It's like fine, but it's like actively kind of fun to ride the Mach bike around in Gen 3 and like riding the bike in Gen 4. Oh, that's good. Electric type for opposing waters, and I guess flying types considering I'll be part fighting. So we can rock a... Let's throw the Soothe Bell on this thing. Get a Pikachu pretty early. What do I call this thing? Let's call it Cheese or some shit. Is that too boring of a nickname? We call it Cheese. It's not gonna stay on the team for very long, but early game it's a nice option. Use Static. Lightning Rod. Minus attack is good, plus Spadef is kind of whatever. Pikachu slash Raichu's not super... it's kind of frail, but it's, the minus attack is nice, though. Although I guess with Pikachu, if you're running Light Ball, then you actually do want attack. But this is not going to be a permanent fixture. I don't think it's going to be on the team long enough for Light Ball to even come into play, so... I don't know. Pichu kind of reminds me of Chow from, like, Sonic Adventure and stuff. It's like Sonic Heroes, you got Cheese the Chow, and it's like, oh. I know there's not really much of a resemblance, but... I kind of want to switch train you. Yeah, there's like no other way to do it currently. This range is really big, is it? Why do I seem to remember you being... Why do I seem to remember this old man being up on the ledge? Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, maybe we just EXP share it, actually. Although, no, Soothe Bell is too good, because we could probably get this thing evolved pretty quickly. We'll see. I'm gonna get, like, Pursuit trapped immediately or some shit. Bidoof. Tackle. Doesn't do anything, just bounces off. Holy Christ. This thing's gonna be strong as hell, dude. Charge? Sure. Over a Double Slap's ass. That's not an action I was describing, I was saying. The move Double Slap is ass. No fighting move yet? That's what I'm gonna replace Tackle with, more than likely. Right. Water Stab, Fighting Stab, coverage, priority. And obviously you normally don't get Razor Shell, I don't think, until you evolve. But generally in Gen 5, the level up move pools are much, much improved compared to previous gens. Even Gen 4, which was a lot better than prior gens, but like, this is like, you actually get like dual stab that's decent by level up much of the time. And some of the crazier, like super broken, maybe not even broken, but like some of the crazier stuff that you would want for a competitive set might be an egg move or might be a TM, but like largely you get what you need out of level up moves in Gen 5, which is cool. Like part of me is like, just use a potion to top off Jin, but it's like, eh. If 6 damage is going to be a problem, like if that's going to be the make or break, then I've got bigger problems with this upcoming fight. If 6 HP is going to make the difference. Part of me wants to stay in, but I know that's not the call. If this thing was a few levels higher, I would probably try to 1v1 the Psyduck, but I kind of don't want to risk it. Do I Razor Shell to try to get a defense drop? I feel like this will do a lot, even though it's a resist. Yeah, like that's a 2 KO, or at least on a roll. And I got the defense drop, so tackle probably it doesn't kill from this range, I'm sure, but oh wow. Well, yeah, okay, I guess because Razor Shell was resist, that does make sense, in fact. Sing. Better than Tail Whip, I guess. Terrible accuracy, but at least has some utility. In fact, Pichu getting Charm, I know it gets Charm at some point, I think. At least it normally does. Oh. That would be scary if I didn't have Aqua Jet. I didn't even finish my thought when I was talking about Tailo earlier. What I was gonna say is that I really like just a lot of Gen 3 designs in general, but stat-wise, a lot of them are so underwhelming. Like, Poochyena and Mightyena are cool, but like, dude, their stats are terrible. And Tailo and Swellow's stats aren't terrible, but what is it, like base 8? Swellow's like base 85 attack, but you get the Guts boost, and so that like kind of makes up for it. It's like base 125 speed, but it's so frail. I remember using that thing in one of the GameCube games, and my god, Tailo, or like just Swellow, would die constantly. I was trying so hard to make it work, because I think I got an Adamant. I think I got an Adamant Swellow by chance. And so it was one of those things where it's like, okay, Adamant Swellow, throw a Flame Orb on there. It's like the highest attack possible, basically, without EV training. But it's like, no, it just dies at every fucking turn. I think it got E-Speed or something crazy in that hack, though, so that was something, but it's like, why does it have to be so frail? I get it, it's fast, and it doesn't even hit that hard, though. That's the thing. It's fast, it doesn't hit particularly hard, and it's frail as shit. It's like, usually it's 2 out of those 3 things. Like, either you're bulky, hit hard, and are slow, or if you're fast and bulky, that's a little weird, but your attacking stats probably aren't that great. Sometimes you don't hit hard and you're slow, I guess, but you know. And it's usually like you're fast and hit hard on either the physical or special side of things, but you're frail to make up for that, or to like balance that out. It's like, if you don't even hit hard, it's like, how does that make up for the terrible defensive stats, man? And like, Mightyena just all around physical attacker with like, what, base 90 or something? Base 90 attack, which is like heinously terrible for a fully evolved Mon these days, even back in Gen 3. And I get it, it's an early game Mon, but like, give it a 3rd stage or something, or have it evolve even later, so that way you're not waltzing around with like a base 100 or 105 or whatever attack guy early on. I don't know, there's just like so many other ways that you can balance those types of things in a game like this. I will say the older I get, the less I am a fan of like EVs when it comes to in-game. I know some ROM hacks even have like an EV-less mode where like opponents don't have EVs and you don't gain EVs to kind of even the playing field a little bit. And I don't know, I don't mind being at a little bit of a disadvantage in hacks like this where my EVs are going to be all over the place, whereas the boss characters are going to have like very good EVs, if not like perfectly like distributed EVs. Have you heard of Team Plasma? I'm just gonna say no. We tried to liberate Pokemon from the subjugation of trainers like you 2 years ago. We were led astray by that man, the false prophet, N. See, there's so much cool shit with this game's story, man. Even this early. Calls him the false prophet, man. That's cool. That's fucking cool. He was part of the sect that didn't actually care about liberating Pokemon except to, like, except to make Team Plasma the only ones to wield Pokemon and therefore rule the world or whatever. Whereas there was definitely a portion of Team Plasma at the time, and you could tell by talking to certain NPCs, especially in the castle, that truly believed what N was saying, and actually wanted to liberate Pokemon, like, just for good. Like, for the betterment of civilization or whatever. Dialogue there is a little on the nose, but what are you gonna do? Go ahead and heal up. Oh wait, we're just... Oh, dude, I guess we got healed after. Okay. I'm not gonna level cap myself, but I'm also not going to grind either. So it's like, I'm just gonna fight the trainers, and if I end up at level 17 or like higher than Charon's Ace, then fine. It's also gonna be like 2v6. At least I think that all boss fights have 6 mons, even on normal difficulty. There's an item back here, yeah. Muscle Band, okay. I don't know that that's better than Quick Claw, considering I'm minus speed, but it's another option, at least. And then again, maybe I do just run Muscle Band for Razor Shells, and then if I really need to outspeed, then I Aqua Jet, and it'll hit harder with the Muscle Band, but the possibility of a Quick Claw Razor Shell proc is nice, but also, like, Duat, once it evolves, especially, like, I feel like even with a minus speed nature, it's going to outspeed quite a bit anyway. Especially, like, I'm thinking Munchlax, right? That's my biggest concern. So maybe Muscle Band is actually just better for now. Later on, when we're dealing with speedier guys, then I think Quick Claw will probably be better, but because I have priority, I'm a little less concerned about it. Something I also was thinking about sort of recently is that Pokemon is one of the few games where save scumming actually makes the game harder. Because, like, if you white out and you're, like, not doing a Nuzlocke, obviously, and you continue, you keep the experience and stuff that you got from that previous battle or that previous attempt. So it's like, actually save, like reloading a save instead is actually, like, the harder version of that, which seems like it should be the opposite or something like that, but I guess most games you game over and you reload a save anyway, so... It's one of those things. I know these guys are... One of them's a grass-type trainer, one's a fire-type. It's always the other typings that aren't your starter's type. Like the other starter typings. Ba-da-da-da. Goes to the Incinerate. Tickle. This one shot's easy. I think I just stay in. Easy clap. Probably level up from this too. See, like, this is how I would prefer to play this game, where it's like... I only have like 2 Mons, so that way my Oshawott can get enough experience just from fighting trainers to hit 17 before the boss. Like, I prefer that than level capping myself. It's like, instead I'm putting a limit on... Because in a Nuzlocke, it's like, okay, what, you get Route 19, Route 20, and the Ranch, so you'd have 4, ideally, if you don't lose anybody. And you can level them up to be on par with the gym leader's ace, if, like, you're doing, like, hardcore Nuzlocke shit or whatever. Whereas, like, here, I'm investing into 2 Mons only, and I'm only leveling them up so far as, like, just battling trainers, you know? It's cool, because it feels like these hacks even are kind of built for that to be still feasible, but challenging. Like, you kind of have to be intentional in what you're doing still. I think I sing you. I hope this lands. I do want Cheese to get some experience. Like, I want it to maybe be able to do something against Charon. But it's also not crucial. I guess the more crucial thing is getting this to evolve so that way it becomes a fighting type. And probably learns some kind of weak fighting move. I don't know what that's gonna be. This is gonna hurt. Oh my Christ, dude. This kills though. And in fact, if I'm confident in outspeeding the next Mon, which I don't think I am. No. E. I mean, he's not buffed. I think I potion, like, just kind of see where this goes. Pursuit. Okay. So I'm glad I didn't switch out then. And if what I learned about Fury Cutter is correct, this should deal even more damage than last time, like guaranteed one-shot, yeah. Check it down. You wouldn't have like Mega Drain or something, would you? Yeah, I'm like, you have Absorb, which is super low BP. Yeah, lit. Now, if I really want this to hit 17, I probably need to stop training Pichu, because there's only... Well, no, I can fight Roxanne. I do have to watch out for, like, Storm Drain Lileep, though, but... we can fight Roxanne. Which I think is cool, that the Gen 3 leaders were put into this. Back in the day, I was kind of hoping that the Gen 3 remakes would be in this engine, which I would have much preferred, honestly. Because at that point, the trend was every generation you got a remake. Not like some other convoluted shit. It was like Gen 3 got the Gen 1 remakes, Gen 4 you got the Gen 2 remakes. It only made sense for Gen 5 to get the Gen 3 remakes. Because prior to Gen 5, as much as I love Platinum, and even HGSS, I think at the time I still considered Gen 3 to be my favorite. Like when Gen 4 was around, and then Gen 5, it took me a little while, I think, to like... I was generally of the mind that Pokemon games were improving with each generation. Overall. Obviously Diamond and Pearl was probably a step back from Emerald in certain ways, but you get to Platinum and it's like, okay, I would probably take Platinum over Emerald. Well, I would definitively take Platinum over Emerald personally. But Diamond and Pearl, it's definitely less cut and dry. I'm glad they put the metal guy up top so he's out of the way. Because normally he's right between here and the PC, which is kind of annoying. Because I don't really care about the medals that much. It's kind of cool having a built-in achievement system. Another thing that didn't come back, because why put in effort, right? Why try to add like a little fun metagame into your games, you know? Right? Why bother? And I guess I just said I didn't give a shit about it, so... Fair enough. Cheese is gonna level up. So I think I switch train. I think I keep switch training Cheese, but maybe I fight Roxanne before I fight Charon. Or maybe after? Maybe before, though. Because then what? My second actual team member is going to be good against Brawly. And Roxy, in fact. Dude, talking about held items in like main story dialogue, like, hey, you can throw a berry on and it'll do this. And maybe that's talked about. I can't imagine that's talked about in any of the previous games unless you go out of your way to do it. And maybe that was added for this ROM hack, I don't know at this point, but. So I guess I should hold my praise for that. The gym being in the first town is really cool too. I know I just healed up, but I heal up here in case I white out. I don't have to run all the way back. It would almost make sense if you, every time you healed your Pokemon at a Pokemon Center, there was like an autosave, or that's how you save or something like that. That would be interesting. Like the way that you save is healing at Pokemon Centers, and so as opposed to crawling back to the Pokemon Center when like Maxie is about to destroy the world in Pokemon Ruby, right? And like somehow you get away from there and you like heal up your Pokemon and you go back and he's still just there, you know? Instead of that, it's like reloading a save like just before you hand to the nurse your Pokemon to heal them up or something. Like that could be the way that it works. Or like your save reloads and she's like, thanks for healing up your Pokemon. And then you move on your way, right? I kind of like that. Shit, I gotta take notes if I ever, which I don't have intentions of doing it anytime soon, but if I ever make an RPG or something, it's like, oh, that's an idea. It's an idea, because you better believe that if I made an RPG that there would definitely be elements inspired by Pokemon. Not necessarily a creature collector, not necessarily like, I'm not gonna go out and make fucking Pal World or some shit, but my point is like, okay, having like healing points, but that's like, I guess like Final Fantasy kind of has that, but those are just like just random spots on the map kind of deal. And if you rest in an inn in Final Fantasy, you don't save automatically either, but yeah, I think you get my point. Probably. 52 of those. I can't buy anything better until after the gym, and so I kind of want to save some of my Poké Dollars for post-gym, because I think you get like Paralyze Heals and Antidotes maybe to buy. I don't think you get Super Potions just yet though. That's after Gym 2, I think. But at the same time, it's like if I white out to Roxy, then I lose half of my money, and so it's like, well, I should just, in that case, like, buy all of this. Maybe I don't spend the trainer battle money I get from the gym, in the off chance that I can save it for post-gym badge. It's also like, man, this first gym segment is really short. No speed up. I've been talking a shit ton too, and like not constantly making progress. Look at Nose Pass. And also this is super fitting because she's literally like the trainer school thing is kind of her shtick in Gen 3. The gym isn't the trainer school, it's behind it, but that's the kind of thing that Gen 3 remakes could have changed. It's like, make the trainer school a lot bigger and make it the gym, kind of like here, right? And then, like, Brawley is kind of by the docks, which, like, you know, Dewford is an island. Watson is from Mauville, which is kind of like the big city in Hoenn, quote-unquote. It's not really. In original Gen 3, it's not anything to write home about besides the Game Corner, I guess. RIP Game Corner, by the way. I do miss that. Getting the gambling addiction started early, I see. That is a shame, though. I mean, Voltorb Flip is cool, but that didn't even come back after HGSS. Which is lame. It's the boy. Maybe I'd better say that I just became the gym leader. Better Flannery, don't at me. It helps that, like, he has the character development in the first game, and then, like, he actually talks to you before the challenge. And I always thought this was cool. It's like, it's very much like how the battles take place in the anime. It's like, we got the actual arena set up, the gym leader's overlooking, and then we'll, like, it reminds me of those animations they released before Black and White 2's release, where it's like, Rosa's battling Sharon with the Superior, and then, like, there's the scene on the frigate with, like, Samurott and Embor. I think Nate has Samurott, or something like that, in that, but it's like, man, it just makes me lament what the Pokemon anime is and really has been for many years. It's like, if it was more like the Pokemon Generations animations, or the promotional animations for this game, or Pokemon Origins, I think was another one, maybe. Like, that I would actually watch. Like, I would actually watch that, whereas I have zero, and I mean zero interest in watching the Pokemon anime, as it currently is. So, it's unfortunate. It's not like they couldn't have two going on at the same time, one more for kids, and one for people who grew up with the series. Like, who would want that? Who would want to appeal to series veterans, people who grew up on this shit, and, like, actually trying to grow up with them, like the Gen 5's games literally did? I think the protagonists in Black and White and Black and White 2 were, like, teenagers, like, a little bit older. I was, like, 15 or 16 at the time. Yeah, something like that. And so, like, it did feel like these games were aging up with me. Which is another aspect that I really like about the Gen 5 games generally. I used Sing once and it fucking missed. So I feel like the debuff is maybe better, at least until I get Charm. Because if Pichu can tickle the Munchlax enough, then Jin is just going to destroy Munchlax. So, Jin might just destroy Munchlax kind of period, though. Focus Energy? Nah. Beat up. Dude, Sentret's strong as shit. See that tail strength, man? That upper body strength? Look at him. He's flexing on us. Straight up. I do also kind of like the idea of once you enter a gym, like not being able to leave. But then if you white out, then it's kind of fucked. So I guess you would save before walking in, and then if you die, assuming it's not a Nuzlocke, obviously, you could just reload your save from before and like reattempt from there. Or go train up, come back. I don't know. Ideas. I don't necessarily think that's something that should be baked into the game's design. I think that is fine for being a self-inflicted challenge. I feel like I have enough potions to where I'm just gonna... Yeah, that's fine. Maybe I'll regret doing that, but 15 potions is plenty. Pichu, where are you sitting? I think... It's like, I don't think, even if... Without grinding, I don't think this thing is going to get very much more experience, so I think I just double down on Jin. And try to get her, I should say, to level 17. Dude, I like how the fucking... Dude, why did the chat just, like, pop up all of a sudden? I had a feeling it was doing that. I was not ignoring y'all, I swear to God. I think you guys know that. But I literally just saw, like, 10 messages just pop up immediately. Fuck YouTube, dude. Like, why? Like, why does it do this randomly? I'm so sorry, guys. What's up, Eric, Gustavo, Space Cowboy, Antonio? And only a few of you guys are still hanging around. Oshawa's probably your favorite of this trio. I used to agree. I think Serp is maybe my favorite, but I like Samurott a lot. Someone built a 2D, 3D Pokemon with sprites. No, I have not seen that. Let's see. Yeah, Gen 5 with the Pika Pokemon, I definitely agree. I've returned, indeed. 2D sprites, yeah. Oris would have been awesome in like the Black and White 2 engine. Hopefully the chat isn't like still fucking up. I don't know why it like decided to do that. I'm kind of upset about that. I don't like that. Because part of the fun of doing this is getting to talk with you guys, so. Like, I don't know if it's a matter of me like refreshing the chat, but like 9 streams out of 10, it's like not an issue. I might have to look into that and see if that's like a common issue with people. Teddy. Kuma. Oh, it's normal ground, I guess. Okay. Okay. See you. Eevee. With the swiftness. I don't level up here, but if I fight Roxanne, then I can not only train up Pichu a little bit more, but I can get Oshawott to level 17. Because I'm a little bit scared of Charon, with only 2 Mons. And I guess defensively it's not going to make much of a difference. Fighting doesn't resist normal. But if he gets a fighting move on evolution, which I could see happening considering Razor Shell came earlier, then that would be really good. It wouldn't be Sacred Sword, that'd be way later. That's an insane move. Then again, Razor Shell's 75 BP here. Which, maybe it's is it normally that strong? No, normally isn't it like 55? It's gonna drive me crazy if I don't look this up. Hold up. Hold up. Razor Shell. I guess I could look at the docs and see what they changed. No, it is 75, but it's normally 95 accurate. And you normally don't get it until level 17, I want to say. Right? Yeah, on evolution. So, Razor Shell's insane. I don't know if you guys have seen, like, Hisuian Samurott at all. But Hisuian Samurott has Sharpness as an ability. And so that buffs Razor Shell and Ceaseless Edge. among other moves. Like Gallade gets Sharpness, which is like a newer ability. Buffs like Psycho Cut and Sacred Sword and shit like that. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. It's a shame that Unova Samurott didn't get... I don't think it got Sharpness, right? I'll double check. Kinda doubt it. Samurott. Yeah, no, it's specifically Hisuian. Man. I mean, regular Samurott should be water fighting, but Embor's already firefighting, so it's like... I get why they didn't do that, but... Yeah. Now, Roxanne's a little bit scary. So I'm a little nervous about leading Pichu, but I'm also like, well, this is an opportunity to switch train. Oshawott doesn't take much to level up here. Let me make sure I don't have like a better TM, like no Rock Smash TM yet. Pretty sure the Hiker gives that to you. Maybe that's what maybe that's the fighting move that I'll learn actually is Rock Smash. I could see that. Like base 40 or whatever. Festation. Frustration. Power 102. Well, if it's a max, right? Is it gonna tell me the BP for the specific Mon? Did they I'm gonna pull up the docs real quick. Move changes. Nothing for frustration, huh? I'm gonna Google this then. Cause, let me see here. I'm curious. I'm sure someone's asked this question, right? Blaze Black 2 Redux Frustration. Hopefully it's not someone... Return, maybe? Of course, Frustration is going to return results that, Oh. Okay, it's whatever. I do wonder if it's just 102 without factoring in happiness, like if that's like a quality of life thing. I find that kind of odd, but... Because that is the max, if your Pokemon hates you. We'll just go for it. Also, shout out to the remixes for Pokemon World Tournament. Like this, it's so good. And like the assets are already there from PWT. Maybe Quick Claw would have been good here. I couldn't have predicted Rock Tomb though. He's gonna have Gen 5 Sturdy. But I have Gen 4 Aqua Jet, aka every gen. I don't think it's been changed a single time. Oshawott soloing. I guess the last time I played this I was using Tepig, so I suppose it's understandable that... Oh, she only has 2 Mons? Am I thinking of challenge mode? Or was this changed in like a recent update or something? wouldn't have played challenge mode before, though, because I was talking about the double and triple battles being dumb. Important NPCs? No, not important NPCs. Trainer changes? Roxanne. Easy and normal mode, Geodude. Challenge mode. Whereas... Okay, so Charon only has 6 Mons in challenge mode. I guess I was playing challenge mode or something, or maybe... I wonder, were the Gen 3 leaders in original Blaze Black Volt White 2? Because I don't know, I remember... Doesn't this doc say who has a double and triple battle, though? No, it gives level caps, or training level, right? Like in the Renegade Platinum Redux, features a handy EV and level trainer. Oh, really? They're found together in the PWT. Oh, never mind. That's not what I'm looking for. Level cap. Spoiler-free and more comprehensive guide for challenge mode. Okay, just levels. Oh, that's right. The 2x, 3x ROT and tag. Tags indicate on this guide. So I'm gonna not look at like trainer levels, but Charon's a regular thing, but I'm 90% sure, unless I'm forgetting. Roxy's a single battle. Maybe it's Berg. Yeah, Berg is a double battle. Yeah, that's the kind of shit where I'm like, that's the shit I don't like. But, I guess because you can change the difficulty whenever, I guess I could like, it'd be annoying, but I could hypothetically keep it on challenge mode for the single battles and then change it or whatever. Yeah, I must have been playing on challenge mode or something. Which, like, maybe that's the way to go, I don't know, but... I like it, I guess that there's an easier way to tell in the docs who is a double, triple, or rotation battle, but I want these battles to be single battles, personally. And look at that. I do get Rock Smash. Is it buffed? 55. Oh. You get rid of Tackle. That shit's ass. Berry Juices. I feel like the Muscle Band is going to be super overkill here. So I kind of want to go Quick Claw in the case of, like, if I get a speed drop, or if something does just outspeed me, like Minchino or something. Duat is so cool, though. It's so funny, most of the issues I have with modern Pokemon starters is that they become bipedal. Yet, this was one where a lot of people, including myself back in the day, had an issue with it being bipedal and then going to quadrupedal with Samurott. But Samurott, like, I always liked Samurott's design. It was a little disappointing at first, but I always liked it. And then I kind of softened on it, and I was like, eh, maybe that's not that great. And then now I'm kind of like, well, I think Samurott's kind of sick, actually. It just should be an actual fighting type in vanilla. That's the only thing that's missing. That's what these games are for, these ROM hacks. Beep, 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 beep. Do I lead Cheese? I guess I can lead Cheese. If it dies, it's fine. And if it doesn't, I can get a couple of debuffs off, so that way maybe Duat gets a free kill or something. Duat probably gets a free kill with just clicking a Rock Smash 4 times, but... we'll see. And the cool thing about emulation is that I can actually have multiple save files, because I just, you know, copy the file, rename it to something else, and then boot that one separately. It's good shit. It's time. Did he always have that blush on his face? Rosy-cheeked little baby boy. I like the changes they made to this theme. They replaced like the trumpets with the like guitar and synth and shit. There's some horns here and there, but it's that initial little call and response thing. Yakuza 3. So I actually blitzed through Yakuza 3 before I left, and so now I'm halfway through Yakuza 4, which is kind of wild. Rikia's the homie. That's all I'm gonna say. But I will say the combat, like, Jesus Christ, everyone blocks constantly and it was obnoxious in 3. And oh my god. Okay, rip cheese. And just generally, I found the combat to feel like... I wasn't the biggest fan of Kiwami 2's combat, personally, but going to 3, I'm like, I think I actually preferred Kiwami 2's combat to 3's. Yeah, no, because I did not like the combat in 3, I just, like, I blitzed the main story like you wouldn't believe. I think I did it in, like, 15 hours or something stupid. Like, super, super quick. But it's all good shit. I'm really loving 4 so far, actually. Like, the multiple playable characters and all of that. I've heard it kind of shits the bed towards the end, so I'm curious to see how that plays out, but... Oh, he threw. He threw. I was kind of scared. I was wondering, like, should I Aqua Jet in case it kills, since he's -1 defense, but... This definitely kills. I guess it was less so the combat and more so the enemy design. Like, just the constant blocking. Like, enemies are constantly blocking in 3. And I get it, I need to be a little more patient, not just, like, try to brute force my way through, but it's like... It was just annoying. And generally, it just felt a little clunkier. Like, you could tell that it was a remaster of an early PS3 game compared to, like, a modern remake, like, coming off of Kiwami and Kiwami 2. And I know Kiwami 2 has its issues, I know. I know that. But... Oh god, I'm definitely slower, and I'm weak to flying. I think I still Razor Shell, though. Okay, I'm faster. I mean, I'm 6 levels higher, I've got EVs and stuff, but... Just could not be too careful there. Maybe challenge mode is the way to do this, but... We're already in it too far, I think. And plus, I'm gonna be rotating my party around and shit, so it's like... No, I played on normal. I'm sure hard would have been even more miserable for me. I thought about bumping it down to easy at times, I'm gonna be honest. I managed to get through just fine, but like the blocking and like some moves like the dude with the fucking spear, like that fight, was kind of annoying. It was like Kiwami 2's combat was easy. Like, it was very easy and abusable because like people would just ragdoll all over the place, but at least it was kind of fun. Like, kind of like a fun power trip in that way. Maybe I should play on challenge mode. But 4 so far, with 3 there's this weird glitch where if you play on hard, it fucks with the enemies in some weird... Oh, interesting, okay. Yeah, generally my overall impressions of Yakuza 3 is that it feels... You can tell it was rushed. Like, you can tell the game was rushed. There's cool stuff in the story, but it feels rushed. I think it's probably the most emotional game thus far, if I'm honest. 2 had some emotional moments, I guess, but 3, like, you know, you're dealing with the kids and stuff, and like the whole orphanage thing and whatever in the beginning. I like the tropical vibes of Okinawa in the beginning as well. That was cool. Okinawa felt kind of empty though, which was kind of disappointing, but like the story has some good beats, but it's like you can just tell that it was rushed. Also kind of cool that fucking Wesker shows up basically from Resident Evil. Not actually, but he looks a hell of a lot like him. Dude, shout out to when the gym challenge was not... Like, the gym challenge, obviously, since day one, has been, like, a focal point, as far as, like, your progression, but it's, like, it's not really the most important thing in this game, which is cool. Final boss of 3, what I think of that fight was cool, actually. I thought the final boss of 3 was cool. I liked that. Or, I guess you're asking, like, if I'm the guy who I'm referring to as Wesker. Second to final boss, I guess, in that case, but yeah, like the ending sequence was cool, I guess. I don't know. It just felt rushed to me. Like it's one of those where I could tell that it was made on a tight time crunch, and apparently that is the case from what I looked into. 2 years ago, Pokedex in hand, I left on a journey with my friends. That's all he has to say? That's it? Yeah, I didn't do much of the side content either, just because I was not enjoying the gameplay aspects, really. Well, actually, I did some of the subquests with the kids at the orphanage, because I thought that was, like, very heartwarming. And, I don't know, Kiryu basically being a dad was, like, I don't know, just heartwarming, wholesome shit. And, like, I'm gonna be honest, I was, like, welling up a little bit at some of, like, those, like, sub-stories and little, like, interstitials with what the kids were dealing with and shit. It was like, man, this, like, kind of takes me back in a weird way. Just, like, childhood generally. Not that I was an orphan or anything like that. If it isn't the basic badge, because Charon's a basic bitch. Boss swipe. How good was Duat actually? Insane against Charon. I feel like Duat probably would have just swept, even on challenge mode though, probably. But with Yakuza 4, I'm taking my time a little bit more because I'm enjoying it. Although it's part 2 kind of railroads you for much of it. What's up, Amory? But it's cool. Like I like the new characters in Yakuza 4 so far, and it's not entirely clear how it's all going to connect. And again, apparently how it connects is kind of dumb, according to the internet. But I haven't been spoiled on it, so I'm curious to see if I'll feel the same way. Because so far I'm like, I think Yakuza 4 is kind of hype. More about Pokemon and able to get along with them even better. They made Sharon a gym leader. Yeah, dude, it's cool, and it's cool because he's the first gym leader, and so it's like, doesn't he has like a line, I know I've not been paying too much attention to the dialogue, he has a line where he's like, oh, if I was using my regular team, I would feel much more comfortable. So it's cool, like gym leaders are purposefully handicapping themselves. I wish this was represented in the fucking games. It's so annoying. Even in Scarlet and Violet, like why is that not a thing? You know? Why is there no scaling at all? Makes no sense. It's dumb. Oh, this is where he says it, I think, actually. It's very tough. If I had my usual partners, yeah. It's cool. I like this shit. having battles that come down to the wire. Well, yeah, it's like he's purposefully using like lower level mons, but he's fighting against like newcomers. So, dude, that it's so cool. Like the Pokemon universe is so cool, man. It's so cool. Why is it constantly squandered? There's like so much potential with like every facet of the Pokemon universe. That it's like you could have a game where you play as a gym leader or something. That could be a whole spin-off thing, separate from the main games. And it's like, or you could like, if you were to treat it kind of like, you know, a Skyrim, maybe not that much because there's issues with the factions in Skyrim, but you know what I mean? Like you can, like an open world game where you can choose to be a gym leader if that's the path you want to take, or you can choose to, you know, like an actual open-ended thing that leverages the open world fully instead of just being like a linear game in an open world, basically. Like it's non-linear, but it's like, are you gonna fight fucking the Ghost Gym before the Grass Gym in Scarlet and Violet? No. That's never gonna happen. Because the Ghost Gym is like super high level and shit, and the Grass Gym is like, what, second to lowest or something like that? That's why I prefer for these games to just be linear, because it just makes more sense that way. Johto suffers in the same way. I love HGSS, I love Gen 2, but like, Chuck, Jasmine, and Price actually suffer from being able to do them in any order. Because there's no scaling. Sharon still has his old Pokemon there, just back at... Yeah, no, exactly. I've always liked that idea too. It's like, if Pokemon... Like, I thought about this a lot when I was a kid. It's like, if Pokemon were real, it's like, oh, I'd have my battle squad, but I'd have ones that would help around the house, and like, there's like utility outside of battle, but like, I guess Pal World, funny enough, kind of leverages that a little bit, but goes a little too extreme with like the sweatshop shit. I'm not particularly interested in Pal World, but I think it's good to put pressure on the Pokemon Company and Game Freak, so I'm all for that. Even though I think that there's definitely some questionable designs that are very heavily inspired, I'll say, by actual Pokemon. But yeah, a Pokemon game where your goal is to be a gym leader specifically is kind of cool. Or like you play as a gym leader just starting out, and it's like you get to choose your type and you get to choose the layout of the gym, and like there's so much potential, and maybe you go out on a journey for like other reasons or something, but maybe even more so, like, I guess you'd have to have the battling be in there, but it's almost more like life sim style of game. Like I'm thinking like Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley or something. But I guess you'd have to have the battling, because otherwise what's the point of being a gym leader, right? Also, I like how Juniper is not like, go fill out the Pokedex, that's the most important thing. Because I find filling out the Pokedex to be like the least interesting aspect to these games, largely. Also, the Pokedex could be much more comprehensive, like showing learn sets, showing... Like, you get the bits of lore and where they're located and shit, but it's like, I think learn sets and abilities and like actual game data being in the Pokedex to actually be valuable, instead of having to look it up on Cerebi or Bulbapedia or something. What kind of weak answer was that? See, I can't feel... I really feel like that's a localization thing with Hugh's dialogue. I feel like it could have been so much... It's like a little stiff, I guess. A little ham-fisted. Just to be just a trainer as your career, as a career. Best job in the world, you get to travel to different regions. Yeah, no, exactly. Like that's one of those things where it's like that question that comes up every now and then of like, what fictional world would you live in if you could? It's like Pokemon is kind of the obvious answer, assuming it functions like it does in the anime or the games, right? Obviously, you don't want to get like mauled by a bear tick or something. But if we're functioning off of like anime logic, where it like just barely misses you or like whatever. Or you get diced up into cubes and then you just reassemble or something, you know? That'd be a different story. If Pokemon functioned more realistically, that would be kind of terrifying. But in the way that it's presented in the games, if I'm jumping into like a Pokemon game or something, like that's probably what I'd pick. Shit sounds hype as fuck. I just wish the games did a better representation of like what that would be like, you know? That's where I thought we'd be at by now. That's how I'd always pictured an open world Pokemon game being. It's like being actually flexible and not just like taking like a regular Pokemon game and just like jumbling everything up over a big world map and allowing you to do shit out of order. Like it's like the very bare minimum of open world design. And I enjoyed Scarlet and Violet. I'm not trying to say that they're like that I didn't, but like they're. It's like, play other open world games, please. Even the Zelda games that I've like lambasted constantly that I don't really care for. Even there's a lot of lessons to be learned by Game Freak as far as like open world design is concerned. I mean, shit, SMT5 is another one. Like, that's more hub-based. It's not like actual open world, but I'm like having a blast with SMT5 still. I've slowed down on playing it. Like, I think I haven't progressed that far. Like, I think the last stream I had just arrived in the third area. I'm not even done with the third area yet, but it's not because it's pretty big, but it's not like, I just haven't been playing as much. Basically, I think I'm like level 50 or something like that. And that's been like super fun. It's like very sandboxy, team crafting for bosses kind of shit, which is like awesome. No grinding required. Just do the subquests, and just like I've just been clearing all the subquests as they present themselves to me, and I've yet to be over leveled. Although I'm at the point where I can actually deal with guys who are a little higher level than me. Whereas earlier on, I feel like I was definitely under leveled at times, and that was kind of a problem at times, I would say. But now it's like I'm kind of on par or slightly under leveled, and I'm like able to kind of keep up because I have more tools at my disposal. I've been largely rocking with the same squad of like what, Artemis. What's the order I do it? It's like Nahobino, Idun for like healing because Golden Apple's insane, and then Hayataro and Artemis, all of which have weaknesses covered by resist skills, and basically just spamming Omagatoki critical whenever the Magatsui gauge fills up. So yeah, Vengeance is fucking amazing though. Like the story's kind of whatever. Like I'm not super invested. Whenever story sequences happen, I do pay attention, but I'm not like, that's not really why I'm continuing to play per se. Although I'm curious to see what happens. It's just it definitely feels like more of a background thing, kind of. Maybe to a slightly lesser degree than Nocturne, but kind of in a similar way, where it does let you off the leash a lot, which is cool. It's fine. It's just I don't feel like super invested with it, but gameplay wise, oh my god, it's awesome. Always wondered if gym leaders are required to specialize in one type. Yeah, I mean, Dude, Sword and Shield had the potential to like go into that a little bit, because that was so focused on the gym challenge. And they kind of structured the gym challenge in a way, or presented it in a way that was a little more distinct, like it's a sporting event kind of deal. And I know that's a thing in the anime, just generally, but I think that concept was cool because it's based on like England, and so it's like the whole soccer or football stadium thing, right? Oh, we can't buy super potions. Maybe I was thinking that it's actually best to wait for lemonades, but you can't get them till Castelia. Lemonades are like half price and they heal 70 or 80, I think. So I don't think I'm gonna bother buying repels. I think I just buy... I do have one paralyzed heal. Maybe I just buy like one antidote for now. Maybe one Awakening as well. One Fire Emblem Awakening. But that is a good question about, like, does the Pokemon League as an entity, like, mandate, hey, we must have, like, hey, I'm going to specialize, Grimsley goes, I'm going to specialize in dark types, so nobody else can, no dark gyms in this region. Until I retire or whatever. It's definitely more of a game mechanic kind of thing, but I do think there is potential for, like, themed teams that aren't necessarily a specific type, or maybe a dual type specialist where, you know, a gym leader specializes in fire and water types. That doesn't mean they have to have a Volcanion or something, which is a fire water type, but it's more so like Flannery, for instance, the steam thing, right? The sauna. It's like, you could see her using certain water types maybe, and you kind of have that synergy, and so it's like, okay, you can't just roll in with rock types or ground types and destroy her fire type team because she has water types too. You know, there's potential there that's not been experimented with really. Blue could just be a special case. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I do kind of like the idea of maybe it is mandated, but Blue is like, nah, fuck that, I'm gonna do what I want kind of deal. I do kind of like that idea. I'm not gonna kill this thing because it's gonna, well, it's level 2, but I don't necessarily want to be any more higher level than I already am because I steamrolled Sharon. Partially because I had the type advantage, partially because I invested all of my resources into a single Mon. Of course, if I level capped myself, it'd be kind of a different story, but I don't know. I'm here to have fun, I'm not here to, like, want to die or something. I don't know. That's a bad way to put it, I guess, but... Wait, were you always here? Oh, wait, they put the elemental monkeys in this. I don't have a nickname for Panseer, because who the fuck uses Panseer? But I called Panpour Spout, so maybe... I was thinking Heat or Flame. It's kind of lame, though. Chili's another option. I know that's, like, just the name of the trainer who specializes with Simisear, but it's like, I don't know. I'm not going to use this thing, really. I guess I'll keep it on the squad, but... well... Jolly's pretty bad. Aren't you special attacker? Maybe it's mixed. Are these guys all mixed attackers? I don't remember. I guess it doesn't hurt to keep it on the squad, but I'm not really... oh, the habitat list was also really cool, that Bianca's gonna give us. The habitat list is an amazing feature. In fact, the habitat list had me wanting to fill out the Pokedex more than just, like, your average Pokedex, because it's like, you get the little stamp, it gets colored in. Or it's like, you know, you get the gray Pokeball stamp when you've seen everything, and then you get, like, the filled-in stamp when you've caught everything. It's like, that's the way to get me. Not that I would keep up with that, especially in a hack like this where everything's available, but... also, I don't know if they updated the habitat list for the hack. Like, did they change it? It might just have the vanilla mons. Maybe. National... yeah, like... yeah, okay, so this is definitely... there's no Kricketot, there's no... that's kind of unfortunate. I'm sure this would have been tricky to code in. It would have been kind of cool if they were able to make that work, though. But then again, the documents are there for a reason, I suppose. Then again, wait a second. So if I go to like National Dex and I look for Kricketot or something. Oh, okay, so they didn't bother to update this. That's fine. I get it. Maybe it would have been, maybe it is like a pain in the ass to do that. There's a lot of Pokemon and I get it, but it would have been cool if this hack did implement that, but this hack's already amazing as is. I don't want to be like ungrateful or anything. It's just always thinking of ways to improve. See, I guess normally I would call it, let's at least get to Verbank. These first couple of streams are probably going to be a little short if I only do one gym. So I'll at least push on to the next town. But then, like, Roxy's stuff, I guess we can do the stuff leading up to Berg. And, like, eventually, let's say part 3, or the third stream, I start with Berg immediately. Like, if I do everything leading up to him, eventually there's going to be more stuff to do to where it's like, it's going to be fine, like once I get to Clay or something. Pokemon game where it does in the Origins of the Pokemon League. Yeah, like setting up that kind of stuff. I mean, shit, ZA could be a possibility for that, because I don't know what time period that's going to take place in. Is it going to be in the future? Is it going to be in the past but not quite as far? Is it going to, because like it's a city. So like that indicates that it's not going to be as far back as Legends Arceus. Did I just say Arceus legitimately? I usually say Arceus, but depending on when that takes place, I mean, it's possible that could be a factor for Legends ZA, like establishing that. I'm also curious if Lumiose is going to be like, it's just going to be Lumiose, because that sounds kind of cool. Of like, what if they just make Lumiose City, but like the actual scale of what a city like that would be like? That sounds kind of dope. I just want it to be polished and like look and run good. Well. Like, I don't really care if the story's ass or if the difficulty's easy or like whatever. I just want it to be polished. Water Absorb Wooper. Oh shit, we're getting outplayed. I don't know what Wooper's supposed to do to me, but I have no switch-ins. I just Rock Smash. Wooper is cute as shit. It is interesting that we have two Water Ground Axolotls. Someone at Game Freak really liked the Axolotl, and I don't blame them because the Axolotl is kind of a cool creature. In fact, a regular Axolotl almost looks like a Pokemon, the way that it is. Is this the one that's unsturdy? Yeah. Does Pichu still get the EXP? I know this gets changed in certain gens. But I can never tell because trainers don't fucking switch out in-game, usually. A quick Clop Rock. Oh, it's Prankster. Okay. It took me a second. I was like, wait, Riolu does get Prankster. Or does have Prankster as one of its abilities, or maybe it is its only one. No, it probably has like Inner Focus or Steadfast, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Wow. Some of these cries are iconic. And dude, some of the areas that were added in Black and White 2 specifically, I love. Like this route, the sewers I think was a nice addition to Castelia. Pokemon World Tournament, of course. The various caves and shit, even though they're kind of generic caves, like Clay Tunnel and Driftveil Tunnel, stuff like that. Secret tunnel, yeah. Lentimus Town and Reverse, what's it called? Reversal Mountain. Lots of cool shit. The Marine Tube. So cool. And I also kind of think that this takes you through... I know Icarus City is beautiful, especially in winter, but I don't really miss it, because we get Lentimus Town, we get to go to Undella Town during the actual story, get to go to Lacanosa. Like, that whole, what is it, eastern side of Unova, I think is really cool. I like that section a lot. And that's, aside from this early game segment, that's when this game really differentiates itself from Black and White 1. Like, you beat Skylo, which is like, what, halfway? If not maybe a little more than halfway through the game. Because the story is like kind of backloaded too. Like, there's some story stuff here and there, but it's not really until, honestly, post Drayden. Like, after Drayden, there's a lot of story stuff that happens. And leading into Marlin and all that. It's good shit. This game's amazing. I say as I'm just like standing around. So, I guess like just to spoil my little team comp idea, I wanted to use a Nidoking, specifically in Gen 5. Speak of the devil. Because of Sheer Force being a thing in Gen 5 and not being a thing in Gen 4, obviously. So like Sheer Force, Life Orb, Nidoking, I think we go kind of hard. I've never really used Nidoking, I don't think, in a playthrough in that way, maybe. Because usually if I use it, it's like in HGSS, or like Fire Red and Leaf Green or something, but there's no Sheer Force in those games. So, it's not an option. Nidoking's still cool in those gens, but Life Orb Sheer Force is like such a cool set. Lots of flexibility, because it learns like all the beams and shit. That Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam. Wait, does it get Thunderbolt? I know it gets Flamethrower and Ice Beam. Gen 1 move pools are really weird, so I wouldn't be surprised if it gets T-Bolt. But it's also good against Roxy, because she's going to set up T-Spikes, I know that much. And so I can absorb T-Spikes, I resist poison, etc, etc. Electro Web. I mean, this kills, so... Oh, it didn't kill. Oh, shit. This is going to do, like... Really do half, but, you know. Not even half, wow. Yeah, Pansear's not even going to stay on the team anyway, so... I don't really care about it getting experience. It is nice coverage, but I think Nidorino is going to handle grass types just fine. I also think like Nidoking and Samurott kind of complement each other. Water fighting, poison ground. It's just like an aesthetically pleasing combination. Now for the third slot, Burbank Complex has an amazing pool of mons just in vanilla, like Magnemite, fucking Growlithe. I'm sure there's other stuff I'm forgetting. Is Coughing over there? Maybe not. There's like poison types, steel types, fire types. Like, it's a really good variety of shit. That's probably one of my favorite areas too. It's kind of small, but it's I've always liked that area. And in this game, you've got like Beldum is found there. So I was thinking Metagross would be kind of sick. I love Metagross. And I think that his like 3D models his 3D model kind of soured me on him for a while. But like Metagross in Gens 3 through 5, goated. Goated mod. Love Metagross. It's a shame the Steel nerf kind of fucked him up, because he's now weak to Ghost and Dark, but still has a lot of valuable resistances still. Great stats. Amazing move pool, too. I think I'm selling myself on using Metagross. Because the other option was Magnezone, which would be equally kind of cool. But I like Metagross a lot better than Zone, personally. Plus Beldum actually has a move pool, instead of just Takedown in this hack. So maybe I snag a Nidoran and a Beldum. Like, Nidoran will eventually be more specially oriented, because Sheer Force boosted like Earth Power and Sludge Wave. Well, I don't think Nidoking gets Gunk Shot, but the point is, Sheer Force boosted Earth Power does more than like Earthquake, because Earthquake isn't Sheer Force boosted. There's no secondary effect to eliminate. It's like obviously Earth Power, there's no Sped F drop chance, but it deals more than an Earthquake. And I don't know if his stats were tweaked at all. Let's pull up the docs real quick. Pokemon changes. Nidoking. Nope, no changes. Although Sheer Force is its primary ability now, not Poison Point, which is good. So what would I need? I would need a Hustle Nidoran. Get a Hustle Nidoran and that turns into Sheer Force. Whereas Poison Point and Rivalry just stay as is. Compatible with a Low Sweep. That's Sheer Force boosted because it has the speed drop chance. Avalanche, High Horsepower, Head Smash. Smart Strike, Morning Sun, Play Rough. You kind of go Mixed Attack or maybe Scorching Sands. Although I guess Scorching Sands not as good as Earth Power, right? Unless they changed... Did they change Earth Power into Scorching Sands? Would they have done that? Because that's how they had to do it, was they had to replace certain moves. Like Sand Tomb turned into a Celerock. Horn Drill turned into Boom Burst, etc. Metal Sound is Scorching Sands, never mind. How does Nidoking normally get Earth Power? It's probably... I'm trying to think of like when I don't even have the Nidoran yet, but I'm like, when do I want to evolve him? If I'm going kind of specially oriented, like Scorching Sands, Sludge Wave, then Coverage. Like Play Rough is a nice option, I guess, because that is Sheer Force boosted. But I would need to have like, you would need to be kind of a mixed attacker in that case. And I was thinking of trying to go for like a Timid one, plus speed, right? Minus attack. It's like going all in on that special oriented Life Orb Sheer Force boost. Because most of the moves that are boosted by Sheer Force, well, I wouldn't say most. Most of the ones that Nidoking learns normally are special. Sheer Force boosted Gunk Shot sounds nasty though, but I don't think he gets that even in this hack. I'm like, does Nidorino learn anything that I would really want to get? Poison Jab, I guess, is good at level 26. Body Slam, Crunch. Those are all physically oriented. Scorching Sands at 48 versus 58 for Nidoking. So it's like, okay, maybe I'm rocking an Eviolite Nidorino for a while. In which case he would be Hustle. In which case that's an attack boost at the cost of accuracy. So I'd actually, I guess, want a mixed attacker to some effect. I can always mess with the nature later, but wasn't gonna look up. Item changes, maybe? Is this location? Life Orb? Route 4? Okay, Life Orb on Route 4. I guess that's it, right? Moonstone. Moonstone on Route 6. So that's post Skyla. Or well, I can get it before Skyla, but my point is, I don't think my Nidorino at that point would be level 48 quite to get Scorching Sands, but I'm wondering, I think the Move Tutor moves are the same. So I want to look up Black and White 2 move tutors to see and remind myself. I know the tutors are insane. You can also buy shards from the Driftvale shop, I think. Is Earth Power... Earth Power. Which one is this? Lentimas. Ooh, that's nasty, dude. That's so nasty. Plus Zen Headbutt. The move tutors in this game are fucking insane. Like, so good. And also grinding for shards is not too bad, because you just go for Dust Clouds in the caves. I remember doing that in vanilla, actually, to get certain moves. Like, specifically running around with Repels up and hitting Dust Clouds to get shards. I don't remember it being that terrible. Something I would prefer to avoid these days, but yeah, this Nidoking is gonna be shiced as fuck, dude. I'm excited. if you can't tell. Nidoking is so cool, and this particular set is like really nasty. I'm just torn on like what nature would be best. Because obviously for Nidorino, it's like Adamant would be better, because Hustle. I'm gonna be sticking with Nidorino for a while. Like a good 30 levels. Although I guess if Earth Power is a tutor move, then what would I need off of Nidorino particularly? Nidorino. There's nothing here that I want for specially oriented Nidoking. Because Nidorino basically learns like Poison Jab, Beat Up, Body Slam, Crunch, Smart Strike, Poison Tail, Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands is the only one. But if I'm gonna get Earth Power in Lentamas, well, I guess we'll see what level he's at Skyla. If I'm already level 48, then yeah, Scorching Sands, obviously. Or if I'm like level 45 or something, sure, grind up for Scorching Sands. And then like override it with Earth Power like one town later, but it just depends on the level curve. I don't think we're going to be that high level by then, if I had to guess. And then Metagross. I think we're going to rock with that, because Metagross is probably my favorite pseudo. I don't know if I said as much previously. The Gen 3 pseudos, the only gen with 2, first of all, and 2 of the coolest. I think T-Tar is awesome as well, though. Garchomp is cool too, but he's never been my favorite. Hydreigon's also cool. Like, they're pretty much all cool. I think I like Metagross as well because it's not a Dragon-type pseudo, which is pretty rare. How many Dragon-type pseudos do we have? Gen 1, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5, Gen 6, Gen 7. Gen 8 pseudo is... What the fuck is Gen 8 pseudo? Dragapult, duh. I was like, that's Gen 8? What? Time is a flat circle? And then Baxcalibur. So 8 out of 9... There's only 2 pseudos that are not Dragon-type, being T-Tar and Metagross. That's wild. The fuck are they doing? Dragon-types are cool, but it's like, come on. Get a little more experimental with it. How's that not a Fairy-type pseudo? How's that not a thing, though? And now Metagross. Iron Fist. Gets Clear Body, Iron Fist, and Heavy Metal. For Beldum, it would be Rockhead, would be Iron Fist, and I think that's the one that I probably want. Clear Body's not bad because you can't get intimidated. Like, no status drops. Sorry, not status. No stat drops. But I think Iron Fist with, like, Bullet Punch... Does Meteor Mash get boosted? I don't think so, but maybe? And then, like, Elemental Punches just generally, but Bullet Punch being boosted is kind of big. Compatible with Rock Climb and Fly is interesting. Gets Dynamic Punch now. Hammer Arm. I don't know if that's considered a punching move. It's kind of fickle. Iron Fist is a weird ability. In fact, I know I'm just talking, but if you're watching this, you're probably into Pokemon at the minute details, so this probably isn't. This probably is. This is interesting to me, at least. No, not Iron Fist, the fucking superhero, damn it. Iron Fist Pokemon. Also, not an action, that I'm saying. Affected moves. Alright, ready? Bullet Punch, Comet Punch, Dizzy Punch. Okay, all punches. Double Iron Bash. Melmetal's a demon. Drain Punch, Dynamic Punch, Fire Punch, Focus Punch. Hammer Arm is affected. Okay. Ice Hammer. Ice Punch, Mach Punch, Mega Punch, Power Up Punch. No Meteor Mash. No Meteor Mash. But Hammer Arm. Hammer Arm does get affected. That's something that Metagross learns. And the Elemental Punches. And Bullet Punch. So it's like maybe I go Hammer Arm over Earthquake or something. As the boost. I don't know, there's lots of options. There's lots of options. I think it's more interesting than Clear Body, probably. And plus BP getting a boost is really nasty. Of course, like Zen Headbutt and agility and shit. We could go agility gross. The cosmic power is an option. Gravity. I guess gravity with heavy metal would be kind of nasty if heavy slam is in this. It is. Okay. Plus Beldum with Rockhead for takedown is actually kind of cool. But it also has a couple of other moves, which is nice. Probably want like an adamant one or something. Or, I mean, Brave could also work. Samurot's Brave, so like it wouldn't really matter if they're both Brave. But if I want to run Agility Gross, I'd ideally want to get like an adamant one or something. But really, I just want a Rockhead one, which should be easy to tell if it goes for take. Wait, no, it learns takedown at 15 or something, so. Also, I like the remixed trainer themes for Charon and Bianca. Sax going crazy. You can barely hear it, but it's like, it's there. Weird thing in this gen, Super Rod is the only rod, and normally you get it in post-game. Because that's how you get some mons that are... Like, I remember... I like the Poliwag line a lot. For some reason. Like, I had a little Poliwhirl, like, toy, like, keychain thing when I was a kid. Or not... I think it was a Pokeball and a keychain that had a little Poliwhirl in it. Had, like, a peg in it that went up its ass, but... that's besides the point. But I've always liked, like, Poliwhirl and Poliwrath even. And so I remember wanting to use it in a Black and White 2 playthrough, but I think you only get it from fishing. And so you can't normally get it, like, during your actual playthrough. And also, I should say, once Aurora Crystal drops, I have a cool team in mind there, too. Mostly kind of Kanto Johto oriented, but that's usually how I go with... Like, that's my opportunity to use Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon, or evolutions of Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon. And that's, I guess, all I'll say on that. Although I already used Weavile and Gliscor in Renegade. So there's that. And shit, there's always the possibility of doing another Renegade run someday, just with a different starter. Go Ape next time. Build the team a little bit differently. Get a Gastrodon on there, Roserade maybe? Venusaur was so clutch though, that's the thing. Like, Venusaur doesn't normally have thick fat, but thick fat Venusaur is hard to pass up for Roserade. Obviously Roserade serves a slightly different role, but... Because it's like fast and it's there to like set hazards and shit, but... Holy shit. Holy shit. That's a Dratini, dude. Hey, yo. I mean, D-Knight has multi-scale in this. I wasn't planning on using D-Knight, but that could be kind of fun. They just throw a regular Pokeball and see what's up. How was D-Knight changed? Inner Focus, multi-scale instead of... Okay, so multi-scale is an actual ability instead of just being hidden. Compatible with Hurricane. That's pretty big, although... Obviously, Dragonite more of a physical attacker, base 134 attack. I think its special attack is not bad. Maybe it's like 95 or something, but... I think? Maybe I'm thinking of T-Tar, though. T-Tar's another one that I'd like to use. Maybe I try to squeeze that on the Johto squad. I should probably weaken this then. Or try to get like a para. What ability would you need? Marvel Scale. I got the para first turn, that's lucky. So Marvel Scale... I mean, I can just test this by Shedskin not proccing. I could have tested it by going for Quick Attack and then gauging damage. We can see. If Quick Attack does like... I don't know, that might be Marvel Scale, I can't tell. Using two pseudos on the same team is kind of cheesy though, but I'm also like, well, Dratini presented itself just by like random chance, so it's like, I'll at least catch it. I don't know that I'm gonna use it, but I was gonna look at what else D-Knight gets that's different. Like obviously E-Speed shit is like amazing. Dual Wing Beat, it gets Dragon Dance. Like, the thing is, like, I just know D-Knight's gonna function more or less like it is in competitive, and that's fine. Like, you know, set up DDs, E-Speed stuff that's faster than you, abuse multiscale. Especially, like, in-game multiscale's nasty because you can Hyper Potion, like, priority Hyper Potion, and all that. We'll not nickname it, though. Let me just see, though. If it's, like, Adamant or something, I'm gonna freak out. Relaxed. It is Marvel scale. Not the greatest nature, but not terrible either. The D-Knight's not super fast. So the Dragon Dancing is for. Yeah, I don't know. It's an option. Let me look at the rest of my initially planned team. Oh no, I have another dragon that I wanted to use. That's right. Yeah, so no D-Knight. And sorry, I know I keep checking the docs. I just want to check. Nidoran is specifically Burbank Complex outside, yeah. Specifically there. Level 14 to 15. Bum 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 bum. So yeah, I'm not totally sure that Pichu/Pikachu is going to really stick around much, but it is nice having some other Mon. Because I feel like if I was just sweeping everything with Duat, which I kind of already am, that it's going to level out eventually. Like, we're going to get to Elisa, and it's going to be a problem. Like, Duat's not going to be very good there, because, like, Emolga exists. And even Berg, I think Jin is going to struggle with a bit, because a lot of bug types are also grass types or poison types, which I guess, like, we resist poison, but also our fighting type moves are not going to do much there. Disarming Voice is interesting. Also, EXP kind of falls off a cliff if you're fighting mons that are lower level than you in this gen. Which I know some people take umbrage with, but it's like, who the fuck is grinding in these games, dude? Like, you can just fight trainers and be perfectly fine. That's like... I don't know if that's always how I've played these games, but that's how I've played these games for a long, long time. That's how I play most RPGs, honestly. Like, yeah, I'll fight some random encounters in... Like, I think about it in Nocturne, I'm like, did I fight random encounters super often? I'm like, I don't remember. I was, like, kind of under-leveled compared to what people recommended for that game, though. It was fine. Like, SMT5, for instance, because of how sandboxy that game is, it's like, you don't really need to, nor do I think you should, fight random encounters, really. You should only really fight random encounters in that game if you're trying to recruit demons or get, like, item drops or something, but grinding for levels is kind of pointless. Because even on hard mode, if you just do the quests and you, like, fight the story bosses and shit, maybe you fight some early on or something. Probably to do some grinding before Hydra. I know I did, but that's more so you can fuse better demons as opposed to, like, fully leveraging that higher level, if that makes sense. Like, it's less so that, oh, it matters that I'm level 14 instead of 13. It's more so I'm level 14 so I can fuse a level 14 demon. Kind of deal. That was not the case in vanilla SMT5 as far as I understand, though, because your level heavily influenced your damage output. Not just your stats, but your level itself. So if you were too under-leveled, you would be dealing, like, noticeably less damage than if you were, like, closer in level to the boss. Which is pretty dumb. I'm glad they did away with that. Break the sturdy with disarming voice. Or, well, break the sturdy with this. But do the bulk of the damage. Uh-oh. That did a lot, but not unmanageable. Also, I guess as far as Jin's level is concerned, I'm going to be training up 2 new Mons for the upcoming gym, so Jin's probably going to take sort of a back seat as far as leveling is concerned, at least. Alright. Nuzleaf with his nips out. It's a kid's game, Nuzleaf. What the fuck are you doing, man? They're like children here. Classic SpongeBob shit, man. I don't even think I like fully understood that joke until I was older too. Like maybe, but it's one of those where it's just kind of like it's funny on its own, in addition to having like double entendre and all that. Pickpocket's interesting though. I'm assuming I get my Quick Claw back at the end of the battle. If I don't, then I'm rioting. This is an easy turn. I just, I heal up with you. Also, the healing doesn't happen immediately. I like that. You still set your turns, and then it goes. I feel like in the later gens, maybe, that if I did that, it would heal, and then I could not go back on my turn, maybe? Also, in some gens, if you select the wrong Mon, like if you try to use a potion on a fully healed Mon, it'll still, like, do it and just be like, it did nothing, and waste your turn, which is... I remember that happening distinctly in the 3DS games, but maybe that's a thing here, too. I just don't remember it being as much of an issue, for whatever reason. Okay, that does a lot, but not anything crazy. It's Fury Cutter. Spark. The Electric Jester. Also, I guess, like, that reminds me, the Steam Summer Sale has been going on for a while. Still a few days left on it. And, I don't think I really picked up much. I tried a couple things and refunded them. But I guess the main one was I picked up Yakuza Like a Dragon, so Yakuza 7, because it's cheap, it's like $12. So I just grabbed that, because I know I'll eventually play that. I'm going to wait to pick up, like, Judgment and some of the other titles. Definitely Infinite Wealth I'm going to wait, because it's going to be a while before I get around to that. Brine? Nah, Razor Shell's too cracked. Oops. Oh, but you know what game that I haven't talked about that I've been playing that maybe you wouldn't expect is Dark Souls 3. And I'm not joking. I actually, when I was like on my little trip, my little rehearsal retreat thing, two of my friends who were there have been playing Elden Ring. And so, like, I know that Elden Ring is a big deal. I understand that it's, like, great world design and, like, all this stuff. Like, it's critically acclaimed, it's a huge, popular game and all that. I get it. I failed to get into the Souls thing for, like, ever. But I felt inspired by hearing about Elden Ring, like, not all week, but, you know, like, here and there, it would come up. And so, I already own all 3 Dark Souls games on Steam. I picked them up, I think from, like, a Humble Bundle a few years ago. I want to say it was, like, $50 or something, 50-ish. I wish I could check. There's not an easy way for me to check. Maybe if I logged into Humble Bundle, I could see, but it was, like, 50-some for the trilogy, with, like, all the DLC and shit. That's cool. And so, on July 4th, like, on the holiday, which is, like, the day after I got back or whatever, I jumped into Dark Souls 1, played for about 3 hours, and ultimately came to the conclusion that, I was not having fun because it was so slow. Like, it felt clunky, it felt slow, I was not enjoying it. But I knew that it like, would improve with iterations. So I played for, like, those 3 hours. I beat Asylum Demon and I beat the Taurus Demon, though I did kind of cheese the Taurus Demon with the drop attacks, but... and then I got to the Gargoyles and I was just like, I'm not having fun with this. Like, I didn't even attempt them that many times, but I was just like... I was not having fun. And I jumped into Dark Souls 2 for about an hour, was not having fun. Jumped into DS3. And I'm actually kind of enjoying it. I put like 10 hours in or something over the past week on DS3. And there have been some frustrating moments. There have been like maybe 3 times where I lost a good chunk of souls from like trying to double back and whatever. And that sucks, but it's also like I've put hundreds and hundreds of hours into Monster Hunter, and it honestly doesn't feel that different. Especially because I started with Monster Hunter Tri, which was still kind of in that slower, clunky kind of days. And so, like, DS3, it's, like, fast enough and responsive enough. There's still a delay, and, like, there's still some like, input buffering and stuff like that going on, but it's, it feels a lot more manageable and, like, kind of enjoyable. Like, I get it now. I feel like I understand why people like that loop. I do kind of wish that there was more equipment variety. Like, I haven't changed my armor in, like, a while. I've been kind of rocking the same weapon for a while. And so it's like, that's kind of a shame, because part of the fun of RPGs for me is like, oh, I found a new set of armor. Oh, it's better. But every time I find a new set of armor, it's worse. And so I'm just like, that's like one aspect where I'm like, eh. And I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to stick through it, like, all the way to the end or anything, but I'm at least glad that I gave it a chance, because I feel like I get it now, and I feel like I would like to try Elden Ring at some point. I'm gonna wait, because I just don't have the time to do that right now. I don't want to, like, start any big game, because I'm leaving at the end of the month for a few weeks, again. And so, it's like, kind of ideally I would wrap up Yakuza 4, and if I don't finish Dark Souls 3 by the time I leave, then, like, maybe I just put it down and just, like, stop where I'm at or whatever. But I don't know. I've yet to run into a challenge in that game that's, like, really that bad. Like, one of the bosses took me a few attempts, but it really hasn't been, like... Honestly, it's the fucking mobs and, like, the random enemies that are more of the problem than the boss fights. But, like, I think it's maybe not the first boss fight, but... What is it? The dude from the Boreal Valley or whatever. Vort? Or whatever his name is. That's straight up a fucking Monster Hunter boss, dude. That's like an actual Monster Hunter fight. Like the way that I was dodging and, like, reading attacks and stuff, it's Monster Hunter. It's literally Monster Hunter. Just without the, like, flashy cool shit. It's still cool in its own way. It's a little more grounded in that way, right? And I like the gothic kind of aesthetic. It's cool. Not, like, totally my bag, but, like, it's a pretty game. It's very pleasant to look at and all of that. And more importantly, just the game feel feels a lot better than the first game, which is understandable. I get it. But it is one of those things where I would say, if you've been hesitant about Souls games, I do think that probably Elden Ring is probably better to jump in on, honestly, if I had to guess. But DS3, if you want to play a Dark Souls game specifically, that's the one that's at least made it click for me. I can't say that I'm necessarily itching to go back to the previous two, but you never know. I own them, so if I ever feel like doing that, I can. But I guess I know for Space Cowboy, the best way I can describe it is Dark Souls 3's level design reminds me a lot of Resident Evil 4. A lot of that style of game. Where like you kind of have like sort of smaller segments of areas that sort of connect and sort of double back in on themselves at times. It's like mad Resident Evil vibes from the level design and level structure. Although in Dark Souls 1, that's like the entirety of the level design is like doubling back in and all that. Shortcuts that lead you back to like Firelink Shrine. But in 3, it's like you fast travel to Firelink Shrine. It's a little more fast travel oriented. Where like that's kind of your hub. Your like safe space. But you fast travel back there instead of like physically going there. So it's kind of cool. It honestly feels like because of that, it's a game you can sort of play in short bursts too. Because you're never that far from a bonfire. Really. There's some spots where it gets a little precarious and dangerous. The fucking swamp, but I got through it. Roxy's cool. Also love Burbank City. Straight up vibes, dude. But yeah, it's cool. Again, I don't know that I'm not like 100% committed, like I'm going to finish Dark Souls 3 and fight every boss, but like, I don't know, I'm just gonna like go until I am not having fun anymore, or until I'm just like not feeling it or something, and that hasn't struck quite yet. I did just get to like 2 bosses. I think it's like Deacons of the Deep, and oh, what the fuck are they called? And oh, it's gonna drive me crazy. Well, I actually haven't gotten to the Deacons of the Deep yet, but I got to the other one. What the fuck is it called? I'm gonna Google this shit. So I'm like, Dark Souls 3 bosses. But yeah, I honestly don't think that these DS3 so far really hasn't been that hard. But that's also with hundreds of hours in Monster Hunter, which plays pretty similarly, all things considered. Abyss Watchers, that's it. Deacons of the Deep and the Abyss Watchers, that's like kind of where I'm at. Like, I got to the Abyss Watchers and I used a fucking Homeward Bone to get the fuck out of there. Homeward Bones are kind of busted, honestly. And the thing is, like, when you lose souls, it's not terribly hard to get that back and then some. You obviously don't want that to happen constantly, but it's like knowing when to double back, or like having Homeward Bones on you to use if you're in danger. Which again, it's kind of busted because it's like I just waltz into a boss fight, or if I stumble into a boss fight, I'm just like, nope. If I have a bunch of souls on me, I'm just like, nope, gonna go level up. Figured that's what the level design would be. Yeah, that's pretty much what it's like. It's like very Resident Evil-esque, which is cool. Because I loved my time with RE4, the remake. And so like that's really the vibes that I get. It's just that like the areas don't lock off basically when you finish them though. Like you can always go back. Dude, this town is a vibe. I'm trying to remember. I don't think there's any. Like I know where the items are in this game pretty fucking well. But I can never be too sure, because I don't know if they, like, added anything or whatever. Like, I knew there was something down here. But what was the transition there? It's Verbank Complex, but, like... It's the outside, so this is where we find Nidoran. This is where we're gonna find our second official squad member. What should I name Nidoran, though? I didn't think about that. Shit. Beldum is Megatron, obviously. I'm not even a big Transformers guy, but, like, come on. Or Optimus is a good one, too, I guess. That's another option. But Megatron, Metagross, like, they both start with M, you know? I don't know. I'm not great at naming things. I'm gonna be real. That's like my one weakness. I used to, when I would roll like new Skyrim characters or Oblivion or whatever, I would like use a fantasy name generator and kind of go based off of that. Maybe I'd tweak things here and there, but I'm like, naming things is not my forte. Like as far as like actual names, I feel like with titles I'm pretty good. Or I like my titles for like my streams and videos and shit, largely. But names, though. That's why, like, a little bit of lore for you guys. I forget where I came up with Cobra Codex. I feel like there was some kind of name generator involved, though, and I just kind of alliterated it. Maybe. Like, I don't even particularly like Cobras that much. It's just kind of something that I came up with. It was a hell of a lot better than my previous handles, and it stuck. Yeah, so this is... Yeah, we get access to all the previous starters. It's just one's here, one's in Castelia, or maybe two are in Castelia or something. In fact, is one of them in Flockacy? Or Flockacy? Maybe? I'm trying to remember. I don't have plans to use any of these guys, though. So I think I'm just going to leave them. If this was a Nuzlocke, then these are just, like, free encounters, basically, which is sick. But yeah, playing through... Having put, like, 10 hours or so into Dark Souls 3, I'm actually kind of on the train of, like, can we get Bloodborne on PC, please? Because one of my friends who's really big into Elden Ring played Bloodborne, and he was like super into it, especially like aesthetically. Like if Dark Souls is gothic, then Bloodborne is fucking gothic as fuck. Gothic AF. What am I doing here? Go catch a Nidoran male. Oh, it's Nidoran male. This Pokemon Stadium announcer impression. Oh look, it's the uglier Shellos form. Still cute. Honestly, pink Shellos is not ugly, but it's pink Gastrodon I don't like the look of very much. Because there's too much brown going on. I like the blue. Well, honestly, I guess the blue one's like blue and green, as opposed to pink and brown. Like pink and brown's an interesting combo. But I like the more prominent pink on the Shellos. Makuhita, look at my son. That's more like my nephew. I don't actually have a nephew, I'm just saying. Weasel looks so good here too with the spinning tails, my lord. You know there are people who don't like the moving sprites in these games? That's wild to me. I get it, because the back sprites are like kind of pixelated, but like, come on, dude. So much more personality than like any other Pokemon game. And I think the sprites in the earlier games do convey a good amount of personality in their own right. Now the way I can test this is if he goes for a 100% accurate move and misses. Because I want Hustle. So we can see. It might be hard to like test that. I might need to catch a few of them to like get. Yeah, like that didn't miss. So Pichu dies. Rip. Didn't miss. So good. Defense drop. Not missing. Now, if it was me clicking buttons with Hustle, I would have missed by now. But I'm a little scared of, like, whiting out here, so I'm just gonna throw a ball. And see what's up. Ba-ba-da-ba. Probably have to catch a few of them just to... It's like, I don't want to just PK Hex everything, right? Like, if the nature's bad, I'll change it. Like, we can at least get the ability, right? It's like a 1 in 3, or like 1 in 2 in some cases, but usually 1 in 3 chance of getting the ability you want. Impish? Hustle. Oh, it is Hustle. It was just getting lucky. Impish is bad, though. I mean, Impish is not bad for Nidorino. Hustle boosted and all that, but for Nidoking, ultimately, I could change it later, I guess. That's something that I do like about the newer games is nature mints. Like, having actual in-game items to change their Pokemon's natures is cool. I wish that they were more prominent. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a feature like that in this hack, though. I'm just kind of scared that its special attack IV is bad because it's a minus special attack nature. I don't know if that... Sturdy body defense, so that means that defense is its highest IV, right? Is that usually how it works? Like the higher IV... Or sorry... Maybe it's not always like this, but it seems there might be some correlation between nature and IVs. I just don't know how that works exactly. I mean, shit, it wouldn't be the worst thing if Nidoking rocked some physical moves. I mean, it gets, like, Play Rough. It gets, other things. There's some other moves, Crunch, and, like, some other stuff that Nidorino learns that Nidoking could make use of with Sheer Force. But I would like for it to be more of a special attacker. So maybe I go and catch, like, one more and just see. Just catch like one more. See, if it's Hustle... Or sorry, if it's not Hustle, then I'll just rock with the Hustle one. But if it is Hustle and it has a better nature, then... I'll have another option. Booty, 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 boo. I should find out where Beldum is. I think Beldum is Rustling Grass. In the actual complex, maybe? Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, na, na, na. Ba, ba, da, ba. Come on, Nidoran Male. Zigzagoon. I'm a little slinky boy. Dude, Gen 3 has some goated designs, man. Really excellent designs. A lot of them have a lot of staying power too, which is cool. But like staying among the best designed and all that. Whereas I think we look at, you could easily look at a lot of Gen 1 and 2 Mons and be like, Like Ekans is not the worst defender. You got like fucking Muck and fucking Voltorb and shit. But even then, they've been around for so long that they're iconic. So it's kind of hard to shit-talk them, in a sense. But like, Seal. Yeah, Seal is one where I'm just like, it's a Seal named Seal. That's a meme from, I think Numb Nexus makes that joke a lot, but it's like... It's true, though. It's true. It's Nidoran Mail. Dude, Pokemon Stadium 2 is kind of low-key goated, also. Part of me thinks that's got to be hustle boosted, but I also don't know. Is a speed tie. She's probably minus speed then. Maybe. I'll just catch it and see what's up. I have a feeling that the other one I caught maybe has a low special attack IV, and so it's gonna be one of those where we're gonna be in the late game and it's gonna be failing to pick up KOs because it isn't hitting hard enough, and it's like, that's just the worst. That's just the worst, and that's why for in-game I'm kind of like, what if IVs didn't exist? Just for in-game. I think it's cool little... Then again, like most... The other time in competitive you want 31 across the board, but... You know, when Hidden Power was a thing, you had to tweak it. If you're running a Trick Room team, or if you're running a special attacker, you want Min Attack for Foul Play. So foul Play is kind of a fringe pick, but, you know, just in case. Jolly Hustle. I mean, this is definitely... Well, maybe not definitely, but... I feel like this one's better. This defense stat's kind of rough. And plus, like, this has higher special attacks, so maybe the IV isn't so bad. Unless the IV here is, like, 1, and this one's, like, fucking 4, or some shit. But, I don't know, it could be worse. Defensively, has a little bit lower HP. This one's a plus speed nature, and it's only 1 point faster. Like, I feel like maybe this one's pretty good, then. So we'll rock with the first one, the Impish one. It's probably good for early game anyway, having a little defensive property. I'll just change the nature later on once I evolve it into Nidoking. Or maybe I just run a mixed attacker and just deal with the minus special attack. I don't fucking know. I'm just nervous about Nidoking not picking up KOs that it should pick up. Like failing to kill by like 1 point or something like that, you know? That's the thing that annoys me about IVs and EVs and shit in game. But then again, it's like, you know, I'm a human being playing against fucking AI, which is enhanced for this hack, but it's also like, I've got the advantage, the knowledge, and like all of that. So having some handicap stat-wise is not necessarily a bad thing. You still have not evolved, huh? I don't see why I shouldn't just hang on to Pichu for now. Doesn't hurt the squad. It doesn't double up on any typings either. They didn't make you Electric Fairy, did they? Probably no. This moveset is nasty already. Just give it Mega Horn over Fury Cutter, which it does learn. Super nasty. Also, shout out to Samurai Champloo. Awesome anime. Out of like the dozen or so anime I've actually seen, it is... Oh my god, they bumped... Oh, I thought that was Poison Sting for a second. I was like, what the fuck? No, never mind. The out of the dozen or so anime that I've seen, Champloo might be #1. It's definitely up there. I really, really liked it a lot. I kind of want to box Pichu. I'm gonna grab a Beldum here, so it's like... I feel like Beldum sort of hard counters Roxy. Because, you know, it's immune to poison and it has psychic coverage. And it'll probably be a Metang by then, too. So that's kind of scary. Let me find out where Beldum is. I think it's Shaking Grass. And we'll wrap it up here in a bit. Yeah, Giant Chasm and Burbank Complex inside shaking spots. 10% encounter. Level 16 guaranteed. This does have takedown. So I can actually test for Rockhead. Like if it goes for takedown, it doesn't take recoil. That's the one that we want. It's a 10% encounter, which is kind of annoying. I do have an EXP share, don't I? Yes, I do. It's Nidoran Mail. Muscle Band will be good for Nidoran, in fact. Incinerate. In fact, how long have I been going for? A while, right? Yeah, we'll wrap it up here shortly. Do I want to clear Verbank Complex now? Why are you placed there? That's not normally how this goes. Usually I can avoid all trainers while getting my encounter here. Oh well. Little Mankey. Also, I'm wondering, challenge mode only affects gym trainers, right? I guess that would explain why you can just change it on the fly, yeah? Oh, well, I guess there's plenty of games that let you do that. Like, you do have to soft reset and do it from the title screen, but still. I feel like I've rarely, if ever, bumped up the difficulty mid-playthrough. Because unless I'm just playing on, like, normal, which in a lot of games I guess I do that, but if anything, I feel like I'd start on a harder difficulty and then bump it down if I need to, which rarely happens, I feel like. It's not really a flex, it's just the truth. Horn attack. Better than Fury attack, yeah, 65. So you would have to land 5 times, literally. And it would do 75, but it's also 85 accurate, plus the hustle mischance, so yeah, Horn attack is better. I did that. Oh shit, I forgot that this thing evolves at like 16 or whatever. It's lit. The Nidoking line, or the Nidoran line, is also one that I liked as a kid, of course, but I think Nidoking's Gen 3 sprite's kind of ugly. I'm not gonna lie. And so, like, the most likely game that I would have used Nidoking is Fire Red and Leaf Green, so Gen 3. And look at that little side quest. We get a TM, I think, for clearing all the trainers here. Why did you place these like this? I just want to get my encounter. I just want to get my Beldum. And technically, I think I used Metagross in Grand Coliseum, but that team is kind of not real. Because it was like, you know, legendary dogs and stuff. That's the thing about... I talked about this when I was playing through it, but... like, Coliseum does a lot of the team building for you, assuming you're not doing a Nuzlocke, of course. Because, like, Umbreon, Espeon, it's like, those are obvious includes. Like, that game doesn't feel right if you don't use those two. Especially because Umbreon is fucking busted. Like, defensive, like, it just doesn't die. That Mon just does not fucking die to anything. It's crazy. And then also, you get access to Suicune, Entei, and Raikou. Which, yeah, you don't necessarily want to use all 3 on the same team, but it's like... that's 5 Mons already. You know, like if you want to use the Mons that are given to you, and it's cool to use the legendary beasts or dogs or whatever you want to call them, because they're not usually particularly accessible in most games. It's really just specifically Gen 2, because otherwise they're post-game. And even then, you get Suicune super late in HGSS, or just like, you know, Johto in general. It's like, yeah, you better believe I'm using Suicune in Coliseum. Whereas in XD, or XG, as far as the hack that I played, It's like the EV can be turned into anything that you would want it to. Like, of the 5 that were available at the time, right? And so I like evolving my EV based on the nature, and so like it was a naive nature, so plus speed minus spit F. And so Jolteon or Espeon is good spit F, so you'd probably not necessarily want to mitigate that, but Jolteon, not like kind of frail, but fast and hits pretty hard. So it's like, okay, easy pick between those two. And it's like, okay, you get a physically attacking one. I guess your options are really just Flareon and Umbreon in that case. Like if you get an Adamant one or a Jolly one, but it's like, okay, use Flareon on a ROM hack. Definitely better than Flareon in Vanilla, especially in Gen 3, Jesus Christ. No physical special split, no like decent, didn't get Flare Blitz until like Gen 7 or some bullshit. That's bad. I need shaking spots to get Beldum. I didn't nickname Nidoran, did I? I can change that in PK Hex, I guess. I'm gonna change like the Pokeball. Undo what to a regular Pokeball. Anyway, that's like the only thing I'll change though. I like the way Premier Balls will look, I guess, but it's like, I don't know. I just like the standard Pokeball look is too iconic. Yeah, Voltorb's kind of lame. Hisuian variant's kind of cool, though. Electric Grass and all that. Dude, these shaking spots are showing up way faster than I remember. Also, it's all Autonose. Oops. All Autonose. Definitely called this thing Audino for the longest time, and I probably still do refer to it as that in my head, but I just remember the Pokédex 3D app on the 3DS. And like, Audino! Voltorb! Just classic. Dude, I remember that app alone I thought was really cool. Like, obviously not like a whole lot of use for it. It's not like you could open it while you had a game open or anything, but... And it only had, like... It was, like, Gen 5 stats specifically, but it like, showcased the Pokemon in 3D. Oh, how we were misled. With what came with X and Y, man. Oh, the potential that was wasted. Maybe I just get the first Beldum I find, and if it doesn't have the right ability, I'll just change it. Because 10% encounter bullshit is, like, annoying. Then again, these spots are popping up pretty quickly, so it's not too bad. But I do want to at least catch one legit. I don't want to just, like... I guess I could have, like, egg-locked it in a sense. And doing an egg-lock does sound interesting. I'd consider that if Aurora Crystal came out first, that, like, I PK Hex in a bunch of eggs of, like, mons that I've used. Obviously level 1, you know, base form kind of shit. And, like, do a random number generator to pick which egg I hatch on each route or whatever, or in each town or some shit. Could be fun. I always like the idea of that. It's pretty neat. Although I know what some creators do is have people send in like Poke Pastes of like the team, or not the team, but like the data, like the copy and pasted data of the Pokemon. And then you just like PK Hex those in as eggs. And do the egg lock that way. I think that's pretty cool. Come on, Beldum. Hey! Weedle weedle. Weedle weedle. I wasn't gonna go for like that boo-wee-doo-wah. It's like kind of high. The Orb of Confusion. If he kills himself with takedown, then that's on him. Headbutt. Butthead. Beavis. Just playing word association games now. Beep 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 boop boop boop. The design of this line is amazing though. The fact that it's like obviously there's the centerpiece in Metang, but it's like 2 Beldums are its arms essentially, and then Metagross is like 4 Beldums. It's so cool. It's so cool. Neutral nature, clear body. Ugh. Not ideal. I can change this, I guess, in PK Hex, just give it like an actual nature. I don't like neutral natures very much. I don't. I'm not a fan. It's boring as shit. I remember saying that about Eevee specifically in XG, because my first roll on Eevee was neutral, and it's like, dude, I can't do anything with that. It's like, yeah, I guess it gives you the flexibility to pick any evolution, but like, I want to base it off of that, you know? Quiet Nature, Vaporeon. Timid, Espeon. Adamant or Jolly, Flareon. Or even Umbreon is an option there. Yeah, because it's a 10% encounter rate, and because I've gone for so long, I feel like I'll just change this. I'll give it Rockhead. I guess that's going to be an issue once it evolves, because it's not going to recognize, maybe... I should at least catch one with Rockhead, fuck. It's not the worst thing ever, because I would just change it to Iron Fist if it, like, fucked up, but... And I forget if in PK Hex... forget if you can change... like, not just the ability, because obviously you can do that, but if you select, like, which ability slot it is... I guess I could open it up and just see. Pokegen had something like that. Well, like, you could select ability 1, 2, or 3, and that would, like, change accordingly, but I don't know how that would interact with this ROM hack where it changes the ability slots and all that. Also. And plus, it's one thing to go in and just, like, tweak a nature or something, but I got the wrong ability and a nature that I don't like, so it's like, okay, we'll just catch another one, see what's up. And I'll always be transparent if I, like, change shit. But I've yet to change any IVs or EVs and shit. It would be actually kind of fun to, like, look at that on stream and be like, oh shit. My Empoleon's IVs were terrible, or like whatever it might be. I hate the memes of cast form, dude. Like, I don't know how, but I never saw it as boobs. I always just saw it as like little like feet orbs or some shit. I don't fucking know. And then as soon as that gets pointed out, it's like, damn it. It's so dumb. Come on, Beldum. Somehow I managed to squeeze out like a pretty lengthy stream. That sounds really sus. Somehow I managed to stream for longer than expected just doing one badge. Although I guess I've made a decent headway into the second badge. And as I was saying earlier, I guess I'll continue to do so until, like, eventually there's going to be enough to backtrack and do that it'll probably end up being more traditional, like, actually travel to the town, do the surrounding routes, and then the gym at the end of the stream instead of the beginning. So like we'll do like the sewers and whatever I can of Route 4 and stuff like that prior to Berg next time. Because, you know, we're clear of Verbank Complex and fight Roxy. And there's some like other stuff we gotta do too. But Castelia's got enough going on, especially with not using speed up, that it should Ellicott's kind of cute. Electivire's cool. I've always liked that one. Haven't really found a great excuse to use it on a team. Like, it just, like, kind of barely makes the cut. It's like, I'd rather use Magnezone or something, you know? It's one of those. Like, if we're talking Gen 4 electric types, it's like Zone is kind of hard to beat. In fact, Magnezone and Eevire might... Oh, I guess Luxray. Luxray's cool, but, like... Luxray's kind of ass, though. Like, it's kind of shit, unfortunately. I don't like it as much as y'all don't, but... Luxray's not a very good mon. It's not. I guess, like, if it was Electric Dark and it got Stab Crunch, sure, but its stats are just not good. It has good abilities. Right, Intimidate, Guts. Rivalries, whatever, but Intimidate and Guts are good options. Just those stats are really bad. I really don't want to run back to the Pokemon Center constantly. I just want to build him with Rockhead. I just want to build him with Rockhead. Dude. I feel like this is the other 10% encounter, that's why I'm like a little annoyed. Although Porygon Z was another one where I'm like, this mon is cool, but I just never find the room for it on a team. In-game, at least. It's also a little bit one-note, because it's like, adaptability, tri-attack, go burr, right? It's like not super interesting from that front. It's good coverage and stuff like that, though, I suppose. Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, shit like that. Stop! Also, seeing Porygon in the wild is kind of wild. Also, P2 in this game is like kind of nasty because of Eviolite. It's like you can run either Porygon 2 with Eviolite or like PZ with Specs or Scarf or something like that. It's pretty cool. Maybe if I do, like I was saying, do another Renegade playthrough at some point, maybe we slot PZ in there somehow. Magnemite. That was the other option for a Steel type, but I kind of want to use Scizor as well. Like double Steel. My problem is that my team was looking kind of rock weak. Sort of. I mean, like, Nidoking and Samurott resist rock in this game. Thanks to that, you know, water fighting typing, but... It's like, because Scizor is a Steel type that doesn't resist rock, it's kind of unfortunate. The thing I gotta keep in mind, though, is, like, Scizor is, like, a defensive menace and offensive menace. It's just a menace, period. And is only really threatened by, like, fire attacks, largely. So, like, I gotta keep in mind, it's, like, it's pretty defensive mon. So even if it doesn't resist rock and ground, it's still gonna shrug off those hits pretty well. More often than not. Alright, I don't want to... This is a sunk cost thing. I've already spent, like, what, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, looking for a damn Beldum. With Rockhead. bum, 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 bum. It's like as soon as you start moving, the grass starts shaking again. It's lit. Don't tell me I'm like shiny chaining or some bullshit by accident. I'm gonna find like a shiny Audino and be like, oh shit. Shiny Beldum will be insane. Metagross's shiny is so cool. I know this is the common encounter, but like, come on, man. See, this is what I like about, like, SMT, for instance. It's like, okay, maybe there's stat differences between different demons of the same species, but, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, it does not make a perceivable difference. You know, it's like... At least as far as, like, natures and IVs and shit are concerned. The ability, that's something that I need to... It's like the main reason why I'm doing this. I can heal in battle if I need to. Come on, Beldum. Come on. Dude. Bum, 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 bum. It's like I can't have wasted this much time looking for another Beldum just for the right ability. And to, like, stop, you know? Potions are going to be kind of useless in battle, so I'm not really against using them outside. Come on. I'm not going to use speed up. I want to, like, try to wean myself off of it. Especially because this game is actually pretty snappy. I don't really have many gripes with the speed of Gen 5. Like, there's some things that could be sped up, but it's generally pretty quick. Especially compared to Gen 4. And Gen 4 got better with, like, Platinum and HGSS, of course, but... Another slight on Diamond and Pearl, specifically. These games are slow as dog shit. Although, then again, I can't remember the last time that I actually played, like, Diamond and Pearl specifically, because, like, why would I do that when Platinum is there? That's the thing. It's like, I know at least when I was a kid, even when I had my Emerald copy, I would play Ruby from time to time anyway. But I think that's because Ruby and Sapphire were just like a more solid baseline for Emerald to build on. It's like you've got 3 different third versions, right? It's like Crystal doesn't make that many substantial changes. It makes some. Like female playable character and among others. But it's like, I don't really feel like you're missing a ton if you play Gold and Silver versus Crystal. And then, like, Emerald, it, like, makes more substantial changes, but Ruby and Sapphire were solid on their own. To where it's not, like, necessarily a bad thing to play Ruby or Sapphire instead. But then when it comes to Diamond and Pearl, or DPP, it's like... Platinum invalidates Diamond and Pearl in my eyes. In a way that, like, the previous third versions kind of don't. For, like, opposite reasons. It's kind of interesting, I don't know. And we haven't got a third version since, so... I know I should just go heal off this fucking paralysis. But I'm also like, I don't think it's going to be relevant for catching this Beldum, so I just want to... People do this for fun, by the way. Bruh. Bum, 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 bum. I don't know that there's another Mon that I'm gonna have to get through Shaking Grass. Maybe Scyther, which I guess I kind of spoiled that I want to use Scizor. The thing is, I would use Scizor in Aurora Crystal, but I don't really like Scizzor's back sprite in Gen 4 because the wings are not like visible. It just looks like he has little like nubs, which I get it. Like they're fluttering fast enough to where you can't see them, but it's like, well, but it's a static image, so like that's not actually true. And plus, the Gen 5 moving sprites you can see his wings clearly. You click takedown. Mirror shot. I feel like if I know this is kind of like wasting time sort of, but I'm like, I want to see him use takedown and then not take recoil. That's why I'm doing this. The nature's whatever, I'll change it if it's bad. Come on now. Fuck you. God damn it, dude. Like, Clear Body's not even that bad. It's actually pretty good. Like I was saying, you can't get intimidated and all that, but I feel like Iron Fist is just like... Like, Iron Fist is not even that particularly useful. It's just for Bullet Punch and, like, Hammer Arm and Elemental Punches if I'm using those. But that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I wish it worked for Meteor Mash, but it sadly doesn't. I think I'm gonna go heal up real quick. I can't believe this is taking so long. Wild. Also, I don't think I'd mentioned, but I'm probably gonna do this daily to like ensure that I get everything done that I want to get done before the end of the month, because I only have about 3 weeks to stream this game, and I don't want to leave any loose ends, except for maybe, of course, like White Tree Hollow and PWT. I will save for later, but like you know. Like, how do I put this? Like, areas to explore in post-game and stuff like that. I don't know that I'll clear all the routes or anything. Because, like, the thing is, in Black and White 1, you have the sages to go find, and they're in areas that you couldn't access previously, some of them. So, like, there's incentive to go there, but... in this game, there's not really anything like that. Like, I'll go fight N, but that's the thing you can kind of just, like, immediately go to. You don't really have to explore the rest of the region to do that. Dude, I swear to fucking God, why? Isn't it like a 10% chance? Fuck off. I just buy more Paralyze heals, but I'm like... just stop parrying me off of Thundershock, it's bullshit. Also, give me a Beldum with Rockhead. Dude, I might just have to, like, fucking PK hacks it onto my existing Beldum, because, like, this is annoying as shit. But it's also like I've spent, like, 15 minutes doing this, and I'm like, man, what a waste. I also don't want to start getting salty, but it's also like, come on, look at what I'm doing right now. Dude. It's actually like, even just using directional inputs, that's like the fastest part of this process, but at least I guess I can just click. A little more automated. Not the biggest deal though. Come on, man. Dude, this shit's annoying. Oh. Okay, please have Rockhead, please. Headbutt's gonna do jack shit to you, right? Oh, it actually did. That's all I want. I want to see him use takedown before I try to catch it. I could just catch it probably in that same amount of time, but I'm like... I want to see it with my own 2 eyes. Okay, please. It's lit. It's fucking lit. Get in the ball. You can't recoil kill yourself to death, so... Kill yourself to death. That's one way to put that. You can't recoil yourself to death, so... And plus, because you have an actual move pool, I'm not worried about struggle, so I'm just gonna chuck balls until... I don't know. He stays in it. What am I trying to say? Why else would one chuck balls? I was like, AO, that did a lot. Alright, Megatron, meet your replacement. With the ability that I actually wanted. Click. Fuck you. This one seems strong, but maybe... Maybe that is like just normal damage though. Can you stay in the ball? Maybe it's plus attack nature though, that'd be kind of sick. Also the low health music. Shit slaps. Like they actually made something annoying into something that's kind of cool and dynamic. And you can still hear the beeps, but it's not as piercing as it used to be. Or that, yeah, as it usually is in like every other Pokemon game. Although I think nowadays it just beeps a few times and then it's just, it goes away, so. Weedoo weedoo. Megatron. The real Megatron. Not that fake shit. Relaxed? Ooh. That's kind of nasty. That is kind of nasty. That's a good nature for this. I was saying how, like, having too many minus speed nature guys is going to maybe be a problem, but I've got, like, a lot of priority on this team, though. A lot of priority moves. I can scarf some mons that I get later. One of the mons I'm going to pick up is pretty speedy, just naturally. Let alone if it got buffed at all. So, like for that one, I'll ensure that I get a plus speed nature or something. Cool, so now I can actually call it. That took longer than I wanted it to. There's nothing in here, right? Oh no, it's not like, okay. I was thinking like, you know, the potion that you can pull from Yeah, mailbox. Bum, 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 bum. I want to see the stats here. Honestly, straight up better except for Speed F and Speed. But we're minus Speed Natures, that's expected. Everything else is improved pretty noticeably. Just sick. So yeah, serious one, goodbye. Lit. This evolves at 20, so I kind of feel like we'll deal with this next time. We'll clear Verbank Complex and like do second gym stuff tomorrow, I guess I should say, is kind of the plan. Because I'd like to front load some of these streams, kind of get like some progress going, and then if I need to slow down or feel like I'm making good progress, then we can do that, but yeah. Definitely some items that I want to sell that I don't need. I also do like the free space. I usually use that for like evolutionary items and shit like that. Or I'll use it for held items specifically to kind of clear some of this out. Like your miracle seeds and your silk scarves and shit I'll throw in there. Like just like the less interesting held items basically. Like Wise Glasses, Muscle Band, those are actually viable. These are viable too, but once you get like life orbs and choice items and stuff like that, it's less so. Lagging Tail's really bad. So is Binding Band. Nidorino doesn't get Incinerate, does it? It might. Pulse Swipe, Infestation, Workup. That'd be one to slap on. Oh, just Gin. Rock Smash, TM, Nidorino maybe? Yeah. Good coverage. Double Kick's better except for the defense drop possibility here. This breaks Sturdy. It's 60 instead of 55. But then again, isn't it 50% chance to defense drop? So I feel like this is maybe better. Because if you def drop, then that's better than clicking double kick twice already. But there are benefits for double kick, I suppose. Kind of want to go Rock Smash though, because the defense drop possibilities with my pretty much all physical squad is kind of important here. And then real quick, I'm gonna sell this, these, this, and this. Cool. And then, as far as held items are concerned, what's your speed? 27? Quick Claw would be better on Beldum at this point. Also, I don't know if the move function was in Black and White 1 or not. I don't remember. Either way, very convenient. You've got the EXP share. Oh, maybe I want the EXP share on Beldum then. In fact. And I put the Muscle Band on Nidorino because he's strong as shit. Yeah, because you're already faster and you're lower level, so. Yeah, I actually kind of like the natures on these guys. This will eventually get changed with Nidoking, like special-oriented Nidoking, but not for a long time. So I'm not too concerned. I got the right abilities, natures are solid. I just want to change this guy's Pokeball to a regular one. If I can. And yeah, this is a sick squad though. I'm very excited to use this team. I'm very excited to do it. So, yeah, I'll be back at it, plan on it tomorrow. Maybe some of these streams won't be nearly as long. Since I'll be doing them more frequently, I'll feel less pressured to do that, but good shit. Stopping right on time.